Hey, welcome back to the Gang Breaks Kayfabe. I am Cash. Draven is right over there. We got Jason with his drink. Well, I don't know where he is on your guys' screen, but we got Draven. Raise your hand, Draven. That's him. Jason's with his drink, and Tim's over there with his white shirt.
It's totally gray.
Oh, okay.
Or like brown. I'm gonna stay like this.
Logo.
Right. Cut eye holes in it, wear it like that the whole time.
The shirt was $195.
I think we're gonna have video for this episode. I think.
Let's hope you guys are all seeing this right now. We've tried.
I sold my soul. I sold my soul for this shirt.
Well, we're pretty good for John Cena, so today's episode we're going to talk about
the old John Cena.
The old John Cena, Hulk Hogan. So
yeah, can we stop referring to Cena as like our age Hulk Hogan and start referring to Hogan as their age John Cena?
Well,
I won't do either.
I mean, Hogan would have been our age John Cena, right?
No, we're all 25 years old, so we grew up with John Cena.
Well, I'm 62, so I don't know where you got that from.
We averaged the 25, so someone here is a child.
But as everyone knows, Hulk Hogan recently passed away. Interestingly enough, Hogan passed away 10 years to the day that Gawker released the sex tape info. So that's and the racist rant. So it's a little fun fact for you.
You know, we're going to have to watch our language on how we talk about Hulk Hogan, just describing things that happened because of YouTube's guidelines. That tells you something about the dude. Like, I can't even tell the true story about this without being censored.
I've watched plenty of videos in the past few days about Hogan where they just say everything. So I think we're good.
And Cash said that he was going to read the entire transcript right in the middle of it.
I do have the transcript.
I do too.
I already have it.
Let me grab the rest of the family for this.
I already have it edited. So, but you know, let's start at the beginning. That's where most stories begin. So, Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea, before he became a pro wrestler, was in a rock band called Ruckus that I did not realize was called that. I knew he was in a band.
Are you sure it wasn't?
He's in that band.
Well, he tried to say that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he could have been the drummer, but they didn't want him.
We definitely should do a segment, favorite Hulk Hogan lie. That should, so start thinking about it. And let me know what your favorite Hulk Hogan lie is sometime here in a bit.
But while he was, down there in Tampa, he was lifting a lot, and Jack and Gerald Briscoe saw him, and they
Jimmy Jack Briscoe.
Jack Briscoe. They were impressed by his physical stature, so they asked Hiro Matsuda to train Hulk Hogan. And famously, during the first training session, Matsuda broke Hogan's leg.
Aww.
And according to Hogan, in his book, after 10 weeks of rehab, he returned to train with Matsuda, and this time he blocked it when Matsuda tried to break his leg. Just like a movie.
Rumor is that's how he came up with the leg drop, because that's how he fell when his other leg got broken. And they were like, that's it. That's the finish, brother.
Or is it like a Luger thing? There's a metal plate in there from the very first day of wrestling training, and now it drops on people's throat.
Oh,
so this whole time, he's been using a foreign object.
What a dirty dastard.
Bobby Heenan tried to tell us.
Yeah, Bobby was right all along. We owe him an apology.
I do wonder if those 10 weeks of rehab, the way he tells it, if that was all just a montage. Because he gets it's a pretty great action movie where he gets his leg broken and then montages it up, and then not this time, brother.
Is 10
And he
weeks,
blocks that leg.
is 10 weeks enough for a broken leg to heal?
I don't think so.
I'm not a doctor.
I don't believe so. That seems quick.
Well, it depends. I guess it technically could be true. I had a broken arm, elbow long ways, not this way. So if it's this way, you can get movement. If it's this way, you're not really going to have a bone split down the middle. So technically, you can't. I wrestled 27 days later. I mean, it still hurt a whole bunch, and it was still broken.
When you're making the money you were making at the time, I mean, you couldn't just not.
Note for the record that Tim is already taking up for Hulk Hogan. So
I know. So here's what I'm saying: if there's any possibility of the story being true, he gets the benefit of the doubt because there's so much other stuff that there isn't so impossible by time and space that these little ones, I mean, come on, that's a little one.
well, also, like, was his leg actually broken, or was it,
Yeah.
what was the actual extent of the injury?
If I wasn't
But
so
he
lazy,
eventually got it.
I said if I wasn't so lazy, I'd put a counter on the screen for every time that Vance defends him, because it seems like it's going to happen a lot.
I thought we should have a brother counter, but we really have been heavy on the brothers yet.
I used it once. That was 4 for you. But his first match took place in the CWF, I believe, and he wrestled Brian Blair in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm assuming that's B. Brian Blair of the Killer Bees infamous tag team. A short time later, he put on a mask and assumed the persona of the Super Destroyer.
Really? I didn't know that one.
After that, he left CWF because he didn't want to deal with Matsuda anymore. And then he declined an offer to wrestle.
Because he's Asian. You forgot that.
Well,
Allegedly.
he decided that he was going to move or go down to Cocoa Beach, Florida, where he went to work at a private club for a man named Whitey Bridges. Isn't that appropriate?
Best boss he ever had.
This is some deep dive investigative reporting here. I'm liking it, man. I'm liking it.
All right, good old Whitey.
He ended up having his buddy Ed Leslie come down, work with him at the nightclub, and they started working also at Whitey and Terry's Olympic Gym, where Ed Leslie got big in the gym. He started to put on some muscle, and Hogan looking at
you can't have Whitey's in the name of gym. That's
Side note, different Whitey than the Whitey he worked for. He was just searching these people out.
Hey, Whitey and Terry's Olympic Gym. Can't get much better than that. If me and you ever went to a gym again, we're doing Whitey and Tim's.
Yeah, I was like, yes, you're Whitey.
But Hogan started seeing Ed Leslie's growth with, his muscles, which I'm sure was completely natural. And he thought, hey, brother, me and you should become a tag team. I'll take you on the road with me. I'll teach you the ropes. So they did that, and they began wrestling as Terry and Ed Boulder, the Boulder brothers, which, of course, at the time, people just assumed that was legit, and for the longest time, people thought they were legit brothers.
Best thing ever happened to Ed Leslie's life.
Yeah, true story.
It wasn't long before Jerry Jarrett, the promoter for CWA, approached Hogan and Leslie, offered them a job making $800 a week, which was way more than the $175 a week they were going to be making for another promoter. So they took Jerry Jarrett up on his offer, and they began working for his promotion. While in Memphis,
$800 a week. That's if I could get that wrestling now. Oh man, I would do nothing but wrestling.
I mean, honestly, like at the time, the $175 a week doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, with inflation, that would have been awesome money. But then $800 a week, you'd be living large, man.
Oh yeah.
At the time, Memphis was hopping, man. They were selling out 12,000, 13,000
Yeah, it was.
once a week.
Yeah,
God.
$800 a week back then.
Man, we were born either way too early or way too soon. Either,
Pay
I
all
don't
the
care
time.
whichever one. I'll go way back there, or I'll go right now.
Just
But
I
erase
say it
me
all
from
the time. If we'd
timeline.
been born in the territory days. So the story behind how he became Hulk. You guys know this?
I think I do,
Mhm.
but we'll find out.
He actually was the Incredible Hulk Hogan until they got sued.
So he was on a local talk show where he was sitting beside Lou Ferrigno, who at the time was playing the Incredible Hulk on TV. And the host commented, 6'7" Hulk Hogan weighing about 295 pounds with giant biceps. He said, he actually dwarfs the Hulk. And from there, the Mary Jarrett, who I'm assuming is Jerry Jarrett's wife, she told him that he needs to start wrestling as Hulk. So he started performing as Terry the Hulk Boulder, sometimes wrestled as Sterling Golden, which I always forgot about.
I remember that, Sterling Golden.
It was in the fall of 1979 that Terry Funk introduced Hulk to Vincent J. McMahon, who, of course, was super pumped about how big Hogan was. And McMahon wanted Hogan to use an Irish name, so he gave him the last name Hogan. He also wanted Hogan to dye his hair red, to which Hogan would refuse to do it because his hair was already going, he was already balding,
Allegedly.
so he didn't want to dye it. So he said he would just be blonde Irish. So
Did he also want to call him Whitey Hogan?
he probably wanted that.
That was Hogan's suggestion, but
That was
Yeah.
going to be his name.
it went with Hulk.
He wrestled his first match in the WWF under the ring name Hulk Hogan by defeating Harry Valdez, the legendary Harry Valdez.
Right.
Yeah, we all know
You're
him.
supposed to say Hall of Famer.
Here's a little known Hogan fact. We based the color of the hot dog on our logo off his skin.
Yeah.
People might not know that, but
It's a perfect. If you use Draven just used a little eyedropper tool.
Yeah, nailed it.
Perfect tribute.
He made his first appearance.
True, or else they'll probably sue for money because his family's going to need it here.
True. That's not true. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
he made his
any
first appearance.
kind of forensic test would show that evidence is not there.
He made his first appearance at Madison Square Garden on December 17th, 1979 by defeating Ted DiBiase after a bear hug, which Hogan then thanked DiBiase for putting him over and told him that he owed him one. Which it says that the favor was repaid during DiBiase's second run of the late 80s and 90s, which I guess just means like Hogan let him work with him.
Right. He let Andre win the belt and then hand it over to DiBiase.
So, can I get into my favorite Hogan lie? Because it's right at this time frame.
Yeah.
So my favorite Hogan lie is that Elvis used to come to watch him wrestle. Because it's just so easy to prove wrong. Because Elvis died in 1977 and Hulk Hogan started wrestling in 1978. So, it's super easy if you just know the year Elvis died, which a lot of people do. So why would you try to get that one over?
Did he verify Elvis Presley is who came to see him? Or did he just say Elvis? Because
Maybe an Elvis impersonator?
Little known fact, Elvis is Harry Valdez's real first name. So Harry Valdez. Elvis Valdez.
So
I see you've done your research too, Draven.
And there's always a little element of truth because apparently Elvis would get, they'd sneak him into wrestling events in Memphis because they like to watch it, but not, and a lot of the wrestlers back then met him. So he took a story from other wrestlers, maybe, Elvis seeing them wrestle and just made it his own.
Yeah, because I think didn't he specifically state that Elvis it was at WWF shows?
Actually, I think he did too. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't just he has seen me wrestle before. It was at WWF. He's.
I can't remember. I was just so blown away just that the times are just impossible that it's ridiculous. But go ahead, continue your story about.
Well, I guess at the time, that would have probably appeared in a newspaper or a magazine. So even if you knew better, what are you gonna do? Write a fan letter into the magazine to be like, that's not true.
And I guess you could just say, no, that's Hulk Hogan's story. He's a fictional character.
Well, we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
We'll come back to how
that
that
Yeah.
factors into my favorite
Yeah,
Hogan guy.
come up again. Figured it would be. I knew one of the four of us that was going to be their favorite. So Hogan ended up. He was a heel when he first was with the WWF. He was managed by Classy Freddie Blassie. In 1980, he began appearing in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he was nicknamed Ichiban, number 1. He first appeared there May 13th, 1980. He was still with the WWF at the time. He actually, put his work boots on in Japan, which everybody always points to if you ever say anything negative about Hogan.
But did he? I mean, compared to his other stuff, but did he?
Yeah, I know.
Lots of half-assed ensiguris and drop toe
drop
hold.
toe hold and ensiguri.
That's it. Axe Bomber.
Axe Bombay. I still understand why he didn't just use that as the finish. Like, I could have saved so much of his health.
Grease? Yeah.
Yeah. He still made appearances for WWF at the time, and he worked Pedro Morales for the Intercontinental Championship, didn't win it. He did become the first, I did not know this until I started looking into stuff. He became the first IWGP tournament winner.
I knew that.
The International Wrestling Grand Prix tournament winner. And the first holder of the early version of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, defeating Antonio Inoki by knockout in the finals of a 10-man tournament. They also worked as tag partners in Japan. They won the Madison Square Garden Tag League tournament 2 years in a row in 82 and 83. I don't know the rich history of the Madison Square Garden Tag League
I want
tournament.
more details.
There was at least 2 years where it happened. 84, Hogan returned to New Japan to wrestle Inoki, where Inoki won the finals of the IWGP League, giving him the number 1 contendership, and he beat Hogan for the title. And it was around this time that he accepted an offer for the film Rocky III, where he would play who?
Thunderlips.
Thunderlip.
Meatball?
What?
I said Thunderlips meatball. That was his insult to Rocky, because he called him a meatball, and I was like, what? Is that?
He's Italian, so that is a clearly racist slang that he brought to the script.
Started right there already. And
Do we think it would have
see,
worked
maybe
if they had
Thunderlips
him
did all.
be Hulk Hogan in the movie? I think that probably would have been better than the fictional Thunderlips.
Well,
Maybe
Hogan,
Thunderlips is the one that said all this racist stuff the whole time. It was
Right,
Thunderlips the whole time.
Oh, man.
he had petitioned the studio so that he could be the one to kill Apollo Creed. Was the original. He was like, "You got to bring me back for 4, brother."
I bet he
I read
does hold a
that
grudge
somewhere.
against Dolph Lundgren. I bet he held a grudge against Dolph Lundgren for a long time.
I hope it becomes like Chuck Norris stories, Hogan's lies, and people just make up like we are crazier and crazier stuff.
Does
And-
the timeline
and then
work
later
out
in
that
life-
he could have done WrestleMania 1 teaming with Carl Weathers instead of Mr. T, building to him killing him in the next movie? Because that would have been
Oh, wow.
that would have been fucking great.
And I am sure that he was super pissed he was never invited to be in one of the Expendables movies.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm honestly shocked he wasn't.
They
Yeah.
had the wrestler. They had Stone Cold.
I mean, Randy Couture.
Yeah.
That's true. Stone Cold met their quota, and he's much more badass than Hogan, like character-wise.
Yeah. But I mean, they had Chuck Norris show up for like 2 minutes
Yeah.
in one of them. So Vince McMahon Sr. was not a fan of him taking the role for Rocky III, which I don't really understand. Why would you not want one of your performers in although I don't know, maybe it was at the time protecting the business, I don't know,
Probably more along the
but it
lines
just
of
seems
he had-
I
odd.
don't think it hurt.
He had to miss too many shows. They couldn't bank on him to be on the shows because he was
That's
filming
true.
the movie.
On the back
Yeah,
end,
see-
though, you would assume it would
Yeah.
draw more.
Yeah, you're going to get rid of a guy that's going to draw for you because he can't draw for you for the next little bit. Like, that just doesn't make sense. We'll draw That crowd never then.
Yeah.
So
If we can't have it right now, we don't want it.
Ever.
So Hogan, in turn, he was released from WWF, so he made his debut in the American Wrestling Association, the AWA, owned by Vern Gagne, in August of 1981, where he continued his run as a villain, this time being managed by luscious Jimmy Valiant. He wasn't a heel for long, though, because AWA fans really, really dug him. They were really into him. So he turned face and started feuding with the Heenan family and Nick Bockwinkel. Hogan left the AWA in November of 1983 by apparently sending just a letter to Gagne saying he was quitting. Gagne thought it was a prank from another promoter until he realized Hogan just wasn't there anymore. So it's a good way to quit your job, really.
There's that famous Dusty finish where he wins the world title in the AWA, but I think he threw Bockwinkel over the top rope, so they reversed it. And I wonder if they would have went with Hogan on top as a face, could they have stayed a little bit more competitive a little longer? Would it have worked with mega face Hogan as the champion of the AWA?
No, because they didn't have the promotional machine.
They were just
That's what I
to
mean.
get on ESPN, though.
Yeah, but they didn't have the ridiculous like star crossover MTV. I'm hip. They were still wrestling, and they weren't like. I don't think they could have done with Hogan what Vince did with Hogan.
Yeah, I don't think Vern Gagne would have had the promoting skill like Vince did to see what wrestling could be.
Well, at that time, Vince was young and hip. I mean, Vince was in his 20s, and Vern Gagne was an old man. It was the same thing that happened to Vince eventually, too. Like, it's just like he was out of touch, kind of.
Well, speaking of Vince McMahon Jr., Vincent K. McMahon, he had purchased the company from his father in 1982, and he wanted to expand the territory nationwide. So he handpicked Hogan to be, the centerpiece for this new promotion, the new thing he was doing. So Hogan made his return to the WWF at a television taping in St. Louis, Missouri on December 27th, 1983, defeating another legend, Bill Dixon.
Shit, I didn't realize.
Old BD.
Yeah, the Bill Dixon. Hogan, he when he left the WWF, he was a bad guy. So when he came back, he was a good guy. And he cemented this by saving Bob Backlund. Backlund was being assaulted by the Wild Samoans, and Hogan came out to save him. And then Backlund did a promo where he was saying that Hogan, he's changed his ways, and he's a great man. He told me he's not going to have Blassie around anymore. That's all it took. So that's the way storylines used to happen.
So this is all Bob Backlund's fault. If he wouldn't have made Hogan a face, we wouldn't have lived through any of this.
This is phase one of the Bloodline story.
3 weeks later, on January 23rd, Hulk Hogan won his first WWF World Heavyweight Championship, pinning the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden. The storyline accompanying that was that Hogan was a last-minute replacement for Bob Backlund, and he was the first man to escape the camel clutch. Now, Iron Sheik would later go on to claim that Vern Gagne...
Oh, no.
What?
I said, oh, no, when he said Iron Sheik.
Right.
Well, this was one of his first claims about Hogan. This was before we got into the fuck the Hulk Hogan era. He claimed that Vern Gagne, who was not thrilled about Hogan leaving the AWA, Gagne offered the Sheik $100,000 to break Hogan's leg and take the WWF belt to AWA. Sheik refused to do this, apparently, dropped the belt to him, and the rest is history. Well, what could have been?
He would have been back in 7 weeks.
Before we get into the broken leg story, can somebody explain to me why the Iron Sheik has a raging hard-on during this match? Does anyone remember this? Just a full fucking boner sticking through his tights while he's doing the fucking camel clutch.
They did a whole lot of drugs back then. You just took what you took, all right? And what happens if you get boners, you get boners. It's
Right.
just...
Handful of
Also,
this, handful of that.
I challenge anyone to wear those cool boots that he had and not have a boner the whole time.
So true.
He had to have felt pretty good about himself. And it was immediately after this title win that Gorilla Monsoon proclaimed Hulkamania is here. And we were off to the races with Hulkamania, brother.
I like how Cash is telling like a great written biography about Hulk Hogan, and we're basically just making fart noises off to the side and distracting him from the story.
But you
We
guys
have a
drop
good
in the fart
dynamic.
noises anytime.
That's our demographic here, the fart noise crowd.
I mean, I'm buying a big soundboard that has all the,
So, of course, this was about the time that three of us had started really watching wrestling. One of us had probably been watching it for about 15 years already.
That guy.
But
That guy.
we all
Listen,
know
I will not apologize for growing up in a household where we watched wrestling. My entire family are wrestling fans, have gone to pay-per-views, have gone to Raw and Nitro tapings. I grew up in a NWA loving household and knew all these people before there was WCW, before, I won't say before the WWF, that would really date me, but
Before the
Close.
I can remember going to like my parents' friend's house and them having like the beer steins with Hogan on one and with Piper on the other.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
like a collector's thing from Mania 1, like on their mantle. Like I grew up in a wrestling loving household, so yes, I had already been watching at this point before at least one of us was born, if we're at a 24 age limit average.
So,
Continue.
once Hulkamania started, we all know how it went. He would get faced with a, big, scary bad guy who would put him down, and it would look like he wasn't going to be able to make it back, to fight and win the match. And then he'd Hulk up, come back, punch, 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 send off the ropes, big boot, leg drop, and we're out of here, brother. So that kind of just happened with Earthquake. Who else did you do that to? Earthquake.
I was in the arena the night Earthquake debuted out of the audience to double turn on the Ultimate Warrior with Dino Bravo. I'm old.
So around this time.
Okay, Go ahead. Oh. I was just going to say, I got a question for everybody. It kind of fits since Jason's talking about he was seen matches here. So has everyone here seen Hulk Hogan wrestle live? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Raven?
Yeah, many, many times.
Okay. So what was your first Hogan match you saw live, Jason?
As I looked up today, apparently it was Hogan versus Bad News Brown. It was, I don't know if it's just a house show or if it was the taping actually for Challenge or Superstars.
Draven?
So I looked up the results because there's a relevant story here. The very first show I ever went to, he worked in the middle of the card against Hercules. The main event was Islanders versus Strike Force, which is probably why I'm so jaded as a wrestling fan and worker. So I looked it up because there's going to be a lot of negative about Hogan. I'm going to say one positive story about him. So this first show we went to, it's because I have a disabled brother, and this was his make-a-wish, was to go and have front row seats at a live event and go backstage and meet some wrestlers. So they did 4 house shows here that year. I had to look up which one had, because from my very faint memory, because at this time I'm 3 years old, 4 years old, I remember the British Bulldogs, Jake the Snake, and Hulk Hogan. And those 4 were all on the show that I looked up. So they take us backstage. It's me, my brother, my older cousin Wayne, and my mom. So it's us 4 in a little tiny dressing room. And one by one, they'd send in baby faces to like meet with us. They'd sign his cast and stuff. British Bulldogs, Jake and Hogan are the ones I remember. But Hogan took a picture with us, and it was the funniest shit ever. Like, my mom was so worried about getting all of us in the photo that she just cut his head off in the picture. So it's just this like half-naked man that you can't even tell is like a superstar with these little tiny kids. I mean, I'm 3, my cousin Wayne's like 9, my brother's like 7. But so Hogan did tons of Make-A-Wish stuff, like lots and lots of Make-A-Wish things, and you can say like anyone can do that, but I can't. Like, anytime I've been presented with those kind of opportunities, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do that. Like, fuck no. But he did hundreds and hundreds of those things, so, and he's partially responsible for me being in
First,
business, I guess, because that first show was the one we went to.
so I've known you for like 20 years, and that's the most interesting story I've ever heard from you. How come you haven't told us in the last 20 years
I had
that
the
story?
foresight to save it for this podcast because I knew it'd be coming in 20 years.
Good call. Good call.
Any chance you have a copy of that picture?
Oh my god, I looked for it. So I think it got left behind in one of our houses because my brother also had the cast that were signed by like 30 different wrestlers that night at the time. And the one time we moved, and my mom just must have left all the wrestling shit behind because she was sick of it. So the cast stayed. The picture too, because like once I got older and I was good at Photoshop and stuff, I'm like, I could easily Photoshop 1980s Hulk Hogan head back on this and do the generative fill to put the background in and make the picture normal, but it just didn't exist anymore.
Speaking of people like that, forever, dropping a great story on you. So me and Joel have been doing, a podcast for years now. And this last one we just recorded on Saturday, he just out of nowhere is like, oh yeah, I had to save my buddy's life one time by flipping him in his ear a lot to keep him awake. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, we were at a bar. It was that comedy show. And he's like, he got punched. And when he fell, the back of his head hit the concrete. And he was like coming in and out of consciousness, and they told me to keep him awake, so I just kept flipping his ear to do it. And he's like, so yeah, it saved his life. And I was like, how have you never? And I was like, when was that? And because I was like, if it was a comedy show that's somewhat recent, like while we were doing the podcast, and he's like, yeah, it was during comedy. I was like, you just never brought that up. Like, you just never on a podcast brought up the fact that you saved a person's life.
It's called being humble.
Apparently.
He's not one of us.
Unrelated
So,
to wrestling, I saved
listen to my
somebody's
first.
life. I saved my cousin from drowning the one time when we were little kids. She was starting to get.
I like to think I saved Tim's life. Right?
I went into the water and put her in a headlock and dragged her out of the water in a headlock. So it was still kind of wrestling related. Yeah.
My first Hogan match was Hogan versus Rock at WrestleMania 18, which is insane. But I had been to WCW pay-per-views before that, but he never worked them. So I've seen him do a promo, but I'd never seen him wrestle. So, because I went to like a Nitro and a house show. I don't think he's even on a house show, but so yeah, WrestleMania 18 was my first Hogan match, and that was incredible. So he was a heel going into it, and I remember, I was 18 years old at the time, or 17. I was about to turn 18, but anyway. So I remember thinking Hogan's a heel, but when we got there, I could tell it was not going to go that way. There was so much Hogan stuff, people wearing Hogan shirts, not Rock stuff at all, and I was like, God, this is weird. I think it's going to go the other way. But then in the building, it was incredible. Incredible.
I think the house show I went to with you guys was the first time I ever went to a show by one of the big promotions.
After that first house show, we would go to all the house shows in the area. So I saw Hogan against Andre, Boss Man, probably Earthquake. He probably stopped coming here after then because we're a janky sea town here up in Erie. But
yeah, and Wheeling was on the circuit for the TV tapings, so they were there every couple months. It seemed like.
Oh,
and
you just could have towns where WWE came.
Yeah,
we got C shows. Ask Cash what level shows we got. No,
ours would have been Charleston. We would have had to go to Charleston, I figure, right?
Yeah.
I saw WCW in Charleston. He wasn't there though. But I have a vague memory of him in the big blue cage against someone, but I could not find the match listing today. So that's probably going to drive me
It
crazy
had to be
King
Boss.
Kong
trying to
Bundy?
figure that out.
It had to be Boss Man. They were doing that one.
I mean, that's who I assume, but I just could not find.
Who, Boss Man?
Maybe.
Well, so 1984, we get to our first lawsuit involving Hulk Hogan. There was way too close to the Incredible Hulk character from Marvel. So there was a deal between Titan Sports and Marvel Comics where Marvel obtained the trademarks Hulk Hogan, Hulkster, and Hulkamania for 20 years. And Titan agreed to no longer refer to him as Incredible, nor just simply Hulk, or ever dress him in purple or green, which I don't know if that was I don't know if that one was hard for him or not. Like,
I never heard the purple and green part. I knew most of
Right.
the contract, but I had not heard that.
Marvel really fought for that, and WWE was like, yeah, sure. No purple, no green. Gotcha.
well, damn, there goes our plans to turn him into the purple people eater, Hulk Hogan. Do you remember who was it? Me and Tim were on the show for sure. Draven, were you on the show where we had the Incredible Hulk at a show?
I just talked about it with the guy who played it. I just wrestled the guy who played that Incredible Hulk for us 20 years ago. It's Max Power. And I just worked him, and I said, "Remember when you the Hulk?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah." And then we sat down and talked about that entire time, just like a month ago. So, yeah.
It feels very similar.
Yeah, so at an NWA Tri-State show.
I was a fan at a Rocky Madmar show that had Spider-Man versus Batman. That's kind of close.
Well, this was an NWA Tri-State show where Bruce Banner came out to the ring, played by Clank the Clown, and he was swiftly thrown into the back where the office was, and then out comes the Incredible Hulk because Bruce Banner was angry. And it was just the worst paint job ever.
We like to do deep character arcs in Tri-State wrestling, so...
Well, the same promotion...
Special effects,
That's it. I quit this podcast.
The same promotion also booked Hogan versus Flair, so...
Yeah.
Did that match actually ever happen, or did we talk Arpin into thinking better about that? I can't remember.
No, it happened. We weren't there. We weren't there. That happened before us.
That was before us. Okay. Yeah,
it was like in '99 or 2000. So it was like right before you started. Because he had the poster in his house. That's how
that's right.
We knew about it. It was on the wall in his house of a prior event when we would go over there, and he would type emails and type up scripts or whatever he was trying to do. But yeah, it was a poster on the line. It's like, really? You did this? Hogan Flair? He's like, yeah. He's like, Vern, it was first Hogan and David Flair. And I was like, oh my God.
Just top-notch carny bullshit.
I tell that story to a lot of people, and that's my story to explain who my first wrestling boss was. When people are like, oh, who should I wrestle with? Oh, this guy named Richard Arpin. Once he booked Hogan versus Flair, steel cage match, and it was Horace Hogan and David Flair. And that just encapsulates him, I think, in a story that I can give to people.
I mean, what a terrible way to earn the trust of your fans and hope they make them come back for more by lying to them about one of the biggest matches of all time and charging them money to not get what they thought they were getting. So Marvel received 0.9% of reportable gross merchandise revenue associated with Hogan, $100 for each of his matches, and which would kind of also explain why you only saw Hogan on because Vince was like, yeah, sure, he's going to wrestle 4 times a year. We can handle $400.
It is what he does in wrestling. Does it count when Hogan does what he does?
True. And then Marvel would also receive 10% of Titan's portion of Hogan's other earnings under the name.
Oh, God.
So this extended to WCW when he went there.
Wow.
That's a lot of money in movies and shows, like Thunder in Paradise alone. 10% of what Hogan makes on Thunder and
Yeah.
Paradise?
His ridiculous WCW
Good deal for Marvel. That might have kept Marvel.
10% of that. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. What says his other earnings? So would it be a part of the WCW contract?
I don't know how that would work. What was
This is-
probably so other earnings would have to be besides WWF. So if he left there, it'd be other earnings besides
Right, for 20
WWF.
years.
True.
So like when he
Yeah.
did his New Japan
I mean,
match in '93
honestly-
against Great Muta, did they get 10% of that?
I assume.
That's weird.
Like Marvel was not doing great at the time, so that might have actually
kept them afloat.
kind of saved them.
Thanks, Hulk Hogan.
That's two.
Oh,
There it is,
yeah.
2. Oh,
And to really just put a stamp on Marvel owning WWF in this exchange, or Titan Sports, I guess, in 1988, in a issue number 45 of Marvel Comics Presents, a wrestler resembling Hulk Hogan was tossed through an arena roof by the Incredible Hulk because he, quote, picked the wrong name. So they took all the money they could and still...
subtle.
So is
Subtle.
that the
Not
time-
many will be able
At
to
the
put
time
two
when
together.
Vince McMahon was writing for Marvel Comics, that sounds like a Vince thing.
I know. And, you know, with them getting this kind of money, this leads into Hogan becoming a mainstream icon with the Rock and Wrestling Connection on MTV. He was a big part of the cartoon that WWF had out at the time. He also was the main attraction of the first WrestleMania, where he teamed with Mr. T to defeat Piper and Paul Orndorff. What was your guys's... So, I guess this is a good question. Were you guys fans of Hogan? So Draven was because of the interaction.
Like,
No, you weren't a fan
I
still.
mean, I didn't mind him as a human being, but like, I was not drawn to him wrestling wise. Like, I was not a Hogan kid
I was.
at all.
I had so one of the coolest items I ever owned as a child, my prized possession as a child that I kept till I was probably like 13 or 14. I got when I was 4 or 5. Was my mom's boyfriend at the time. He's the one that got me into wrestling, like WrestleMania 3-ish. And when I was 3, he bought all the pay-per-views, and that's how I first discovered wrestling, was that. So he got me big into Hogan, and so I was like a Hulk Hogan kid. He had some artist person do a painting on like velvet, like an actual brush painting of Hulk Hogan on this black velvet thing, and it had like this like old school frame that was real decorative all the way around. And it was so cool. It had like the artist's signature at the bottom and stuff. It was like my prized possession as a child. Like, so I mean, long story short, that guy passed away when I was 5 years old in our garage. In our garage from working on a car, getting drunk and passing out, and the fumes killing him. So there's that crazy story as a child. So I had that painting too, which was kind of like a thing that he had given me, and he was kind of like my dad from like 3 to 5 or whatever. And so it was like my prized possession. And then one day I just don't know what happened to it. Kept it till I was probably 14, 15. And I don't know if my mom got rid of it because it was in storage. I hadn't hung it up since I was like 7. But yeah, I was a super Hulk Hogan kid.
I feel like you and Danny would have used it in backyard wrestling. Like where you
Probably.
smash it over Danny's head or vice versa. So Jason, were you a fan?
No, I didn't necessarily root against him, but I feel like I was always more the heel. Like I liked Piper. I like vivid memories of Piper's Pit and things like that. That the talking, there was more character work, I guess. Now looking back on it, that's probably what was more than what was happening in the ring. Was just okay. So what really is going on? And so I think that Hogan was just there all the time. But yeah, I don't know I ever rooted for him. I didn't necessarily not like him, but yeah, more of a heel kind of guy.
I was always drawn to
That's kind of the boat I was in.
the athletic wrestlers like the Shawn Michaels, the Hart Foundation, the Rockers, the Mr. Perfects, Too Cold Scorpio. Like that's the stuff I liked. When it got to the main event, I didn't really care about anyone except for Macho Man. I thought it was pretty cool, but Not a Hogan kid.
Well, also, I had a big gap. So when my mom's boyfriend passed away, that was my wrestling pipeline when I was like 5 or 6 years old. So I had it from like 3 to 6, which is very prime Hogan years. And then I didn't watch wrestling again until like I rediscovered it on my own when I was probably, well, not quite 12, maybe 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. And so we were already like in the mid 90s. And so I had like a jump from Hogan to Shawn Michaels being the main event in WWF for me. Like, so when I went to watch wrestling again, I thought it was going to be something like that. And then the cruiserweights existed in WCW and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were, I was like, this is incredible. Like, wrestling's so different. And then Hogan was the worst. And I was like, I can't believe I ever liked this guy as a kid. Like, these guys are so incredible. So I had that too, but like, I had that gap that separated when I kind of came back.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat with Jason, where like I didn't I didn't dislike him, but I didn't really care. I liked Jake Snake Roberts was like my dude. The Rockers, I love the Rockers. I was more of a I guess looking back, I realized I was really big into tag team wrestling. Like even as a kid, Power Foundation, Rockers, Road Warriors, Demolition, all of it. Like I always liked tag wrestling more. But yeah, Hogan never been a fan of yellow, and like I'm kind of like I base a lot of things off color, and I just never liked Hogan's. I was like, yeah, it's yellow. Like the only time I thought Hogan looked awesome was what did he had on like he wore like a tie-dye shirt or I forget what it was now, but there was some look he had that I was like,
He's
that's
worn baby blue. He's worn baby blue, even like
Yeah,
he'd
that.
already done red
The
and
American
yellow.
made.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, I was never a huge fan of him. It was always and I always knew like even back then, like I was like, well, this is gonna be the guy's gonna beat him up, and then he's gonna come. You know, like even then, I was just kind of like, it's the same fucking thing every time. Like I don't. It was of course WrestleMania 3 in the Pontiac Silverdome where Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant in front of 800,000 million people. I've heard. Depending on the day,
right.
Hogan told the story.
Okay.
In the 80s, he
Can we
was
talk
named.
about-
The,
Can we
what?
talk Andre? Can we talk Andre match for a minute?
Sure.
So, do you guys think it's any truth at all about the whole Andre hadn't decided if he's going to let him win or not?
Andre could barely move.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't know if Andre
It
gave a
made
shit
no
like at that
logical
time.
sense for Andre to go over at all. Like, no, he was too good
Right.
at business sense to even consider that, even if he was fucking ribbing Hogan, which I don't even think he was doing that. I think it's a total
Me either.
made-up story.
Yeah, I could see because like we'll kind of talk about this, but of course there was the time Hogan ratted out Jesse Ventura when Ventura tried to start the union. But like if it happened after that, I could almost see where Andre would be, pissed off for the boys. But
So the
that hadn't
Maybe.
happened
union
yet.
story was right before WrestleMania 2, so it was about a year before the Andre Hogan match.
Also, it had happened.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know then. Andre might have. That's the only reason I would think it had kind of some truth to it.
I
But-
never thought about that, but that could. I mean, it gives a little bit of maybe.
I just don't know if Andre cared enough at that
I
point in
think
his
at
career.
that point, everybody's so worried about their own money, Andre would be like, actually, a union would hurt me because I'm a top dude right now, and you'd be taking money
Yeah.
from me to give to the lower card. So actually, I don't even fucking want that.
I was like, what's funny is that we've like idolized Andre the Giant so much that everyone just assumes that he's just the best person ever and would never do anything selfish. Like I just thought, oh, Andre wouldn't be that way, but of course he would. Yeah, like
I don't know. Like
he
if you
wouldn't wanna-
watch, there's a bunch of interviews and stuff with guys from back then that all talk about like how Andre was like he was one of the dudes. Like he looked out for the boys and everything. So I don't know.
yeah,
who
but
knows?
to that point,
When it comes to his money, who knows?
yeah.
Right.
Unless
If
you
I'm
wore
drinking
baby oil.
each at night that much, I need that much money in my pocket so I can continue to drink everyone under the table.
Dude hated anyone that wore baby oil. That's why he hated Savage. Like, he fucked him up anytime he worked with him.
So he then lost the MF title to Andre the Giant on the first Saturday, on the main event one after we talked about the Ted DiBiase gimmick where he had paid referee Earl Hebner off by having Earl's evil twin brother be the referee.
He had a man get plastic surgery to look like his twin brother.
Yeah, it was a twin brother. Yeah, he had a man get plastic surgery.
Can we talk about the viewership of that show? Because they had 33 million viewers for that show.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest events in the history of television.
There wasn't a whole lot else to watch though back then.
Right.
So I mean, any big event, you were going to have a lot of eyes because what else was anybody doing?
Yeah, you got 3 channels, I guess. Like, well, there's just wrestling. Let's watch it.
Virgil had a prominent role in front of 33 million people because of that match.
And he's been living off of it ever since.
Again, another person's life touched by Hulk Hogan in the best way. Ed Leslie and Virgil, both.
So after that match, President Jack Tunney, the real president of WWF, of course, he
Why would
ruled
you say that?
No reason. He ruled that the title couldn't be sold. So the championship was vacated for the first time ever, setting up WrestleMania 4, where we got the tournament across how many cities? Like 4, 5?
It was one night.
No, the tournament was
WrestleMania. That was all WrestleMania.
That was one night in the same building.
In Trump's house.
What's
Go ahead and say which building.
What's the Mania I'm thinking of?
It was Vegas. It was Trump Tower that had WrestleMania 4.
You're thinking of WrestleMania.
It was
2,
Atlantic
where
City.
3 different cities.
Yeah, Atlantic City.
I thought there was a WrestleMania where like they had tournament matches and it was like different cities and stuff. Is that not?
No.
WrestleMania 2 was in 2 different cities. 3 different cities.
Okay. I'm rewriting history. I'm allowed to do it.
Damn it, Hogan.
Nobody can stop you.
But Hogan entered the tournament to win the title. He and Andre both got buys into the quarterfinals, but it ended in a double DQ. And then Hogan would stop Andre from interfering in the final match, where Randy Savage beat Ted DiBiase to win the championship, thus forming the Mega Powers, who then feuded with the Mega Bucks, which
Young Bucks' dad.
yeah. And the Twin Towers, Boss Man and Akeem the Dream.
Never forget.
Hogan probably loved that gimmick.
Yo.
Allegedly.
I said probably.
I said probably. That's the same as allegedly.
Yeah. I don't know for sure. I'm just throwing it out there.
Joe Rogan's made a whole living off of just throwing it out there. So,
look, you can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
As long as you put a question emphasis at the end.
Well, let me do the thing that all the great controversial podcaster radio show guys do. We're just a bunch of idiots. We don't know anything. We're just like asking questions and saying things. We don't know. Don't listen to us. There you go. Now we can say anything we want.
Oh, the free.
We no longer have accountability because we're just stupid guys. So, this led to the Mega Powers exploding, though, by the end of 1988 because Savage grew jealous of Hogan and the suspected romance between him and Miss Elizabeth.
He's
and
got lust in his eyes. Lust in
his eyes, bro. So, as we've talked about before we started recording, Hogan was really the heel on this feud. Like, he needed to leave Randy's wife or like lady alone.
Right.
I saw the lust too. I saw what Randy saw.
The lust was there.
He literally had his hand on her ass the one time he picked her up. He total heel. Total fucking heel.
Total heel. And then carried her back to the
man's
room
wife.
and acted like it was nothing.
All right, you finish the match. I'm going to carry your wife to the back. We'll catch up later.
If you can find us.
Then him and Brutus are going to fuck up the time queue and ask how much time's left when they're live on TV.
That's not what I thought you were about to say.
They're going to do what now?
And then Kurt Angle, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon did the same story better. There,
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
So Hogan would win his second title by defeating Randy Savage at WrestleMania 5. It was during this time that he would star in the film No Holds Barred.
One
Which
Yeah, he
of us
did.
is one of us at least saw that in theaters. You know which one you are.
We weren't old enough to.
I might have.
Oh yeah, no. My mom took me to see it in the theaters.
I say my dad might have taken me to see that in the theater.
I had to wait
Rip
for
'em.
when they did the that pay-per-view, the match in the movie, and they did the steel cage match with Zeus and Macho Man versus
God.
Brutus.
I had to get it. I got it on tape, and I knew it existed for so long, and I could never find it, never see it. And then finally, I don't even remember where I got it, but I had it on a VHS tape.
The true star of that film was Stan Hansen, who talked about teeny weenies.
Yep. Tiny wangers.
Tiny wangers, there you go.
Yeah.
Then this is another reason why. This is when I kind of started disliking Hogan, was around 1990, because it would actually have been 91, because he won back-to-back Rumbles. And when he won the second one, it annoyed me because I just wanted to see somebody different win. Like, I was just, even as a kid, I was like, well, that's boring. That's the same guy that won last year. Just somebody new should win every year.
That's a good way to book it.
He would win the 1990 Rumble match. He then went on to WrestleMania 6, where he lost to the Ultimate Warrior in a title versus title match. That's the first WrestleMania I really remember seeing. I know I'd had to have watched the other ones before, but like that's the first time my brain was actually like remembering things. So WrestleMania 6 is like, I remember like almost every bit of that. And I remember I was also very, very mad because the Hart Foundation had like a 3-second match. And I love the Hart Foundation, so I was bummed that was like all I got from them.
Yeah, my WrestleMania gap is from 6 to 12.
6 to 12, yeah.
I didn't watch wrestling.
That's your gap.
Yeah, I didn't watch wrestling from WrestleMania 6 until WrestleMania 12 was the newest one out. I remember whenever I got back into it.
Have you went back and watched them?
Oh yeah, of course, many times. I mean, I went back and watched them like after I got to 12, basically. Any old wrestling I could find in that gap, I watched. Because Damon's video story, he had like WrestleMania 7 and 8 and 9 and didn't have 10 because that was awful. But like, had 12 with the Iron Man match. He got that. That was a new wrestling tape, I remember at the time. So that's, I did watch them, but. No. Awful, he didn't have the tape of 10.
Okay.
That's what I meant, because it's
the opener was just shit.
Don't you do it. We're slandering one dead person on this show only.
Got it. I don't remember which Mania I would have seen first. I do know that the Capitol Music Hall in a city that we're not allowed to name anymore because it upsets people not from that city, that was on the cycle when they would come through. Wheeling. Also was showing the closed circuit of live events. The place me and Cash went to see Joy Yoakum, they just dropped the big screen down and you could buy tickets to sit there and actually watch wrestling pay-per-views. And my family, I know we saw a SummerSlam there, and I think we saw a WrestleMania also.
Well, even AEW does have their pay-per-view. Jason, remember we all went and watched one of the AEW pay-per-views in the theater? That's a fun experience. I don't know why that's not more of a thing.
I think WWE just
SummerSlam this weekend.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we had fun.
We're gonna skip towards the end of Hogan's WWF run here. We'll come back to the scandals and things, but the WrestleMania 9 is where I just completely began my Hulk Hogan hatred. It's where it really kicked in. Hogan returned to WWF in February '93, helping out Brutus Beefcake in the feud with Money Inc. They would officially rename themselves the Mega Maniacs and take on DiBiase and Erwin R. Shyster at WrestleMania, where they lost by DQ for the tag team championships. Hogan had the black eye, which I'm sure everybody's watched the Peacock like the documentary on WrestleMania 9, where Hogan is clearly like, I'm 100% sure Randy Savage punched him in the face. Because the way Hogan tries to like lie about it is just too. He says that the what's the thing he was on, the
jet ski.
What the hell are those things in the water?
Jet ski.
Jet ski.
Jet ski. He says that the jet ski went up in the air and landed on his face. Like, I get that he's the Incredible Hulk and all, but that seems like it would do more damage than a black eye.
He heard Brutus's story about the parasailing and was like, I'm going to co-op that shit.
Yeah.
And this is what else happened. Same day. I was there too, brother.
I didn't even get hit with a ski. It was an entire jet ski.
Yeah.
Right.
That landed directly on my face, and all I got was this black eye. Like, Randy Savage punched you in the eye, dude. That's what happened.
I've seen Randy punch. That sounds right.
But then later in the night, Bret Hart was wrestling in the main event against Yokozuna, defending the WWF title, and Mr. Fuji would throw powder in the eyes of Bret, which would lead to Yokozuna getting the win and the title. And then Hulk Hogan came out, and Bret Hart told him to go for it, brother. Go get that title. And for some reason, Yokozuna and Fuji were like, yeah, sure, let's defend this title now against Hulk Hogan. And so Hogan beat Yokozuna to win the title. Yay.
So it's funny,
and that's when
I had the opposite reaction you did. This was the first time I was ever like, fuck yeah, Hogan. Because I was such a Bret Hart mark.
Really?
I was such a Bret Hart mark. I was so pissed when Yokozuna beat him. I just wanted anyone to beat Yokozuna. So I'm like, all right, I'm fucking on board with this one.
I just didn't like that Bret started the night as champion and Hulk Hogan ended it as champion. That bummed me out. He would then defend the WWF Championship for the first time in this reign against Yoko in a rematch at King of the Ring. And Yoko would kick out of Hogan's leg drop and score the win after Hogan was blinded by a fireball shot by a, quote, Japanese photographer who turned out to be Harvey Whippleman. And this would be Hogan's last pay-per-view appearance until 2002 because Hogan was leaving for greener pastures, brother.
Does your cat make too much noise? Did you invent kit mittens to get it under control? Well, this would be the best place to advertise. The Gang Breaks Kayfabe podcast is actively looking for new sponsors. If you're interested, shoot us an email at thegangbreakskayfabe@gmail.com. Reach a wider audience. Support a bunch of idiots.
Where in 1994 he began appearing on WCW television. You guys remember when this? So Tim, you wouldn't have been watching, right? Or 94?
Yeah, that's about when I started. When I started watching, Hogan had just come into WCW.
Okay. What were your thoughts? Like, because I remember just being like, I don't want this.
I missed the bad part of Hulkamania, so I only saw like the beginning of it, and then I missed like WrestleMania 7, 8, 9, 10 when it got real repetitive, and then when I jumped back in, he was in WCW. So it's I was just like, man, he still does the exact same thing, but I just didn't care because I really just didn't watch his stuff. I would kind of not pay attention to it, if anything. So, and then I got to the point very shortly where I just like, man, they're wasting this time when we could be seeing these guys, these cruiserweights, especially in WCW. And I got that way pretty quick. Like, even though the NWA was still hot, I was like, yeah, but God, the matches aren't very good. So
yeah, going back and watching Nitro like all the way through and the pay-per-views around this time, it is crazy how much they just like sort of stopped all momentum they had with anything else and just shoehorned Hogan into everything.
I mean, the first Nitro is live from All of America, right?
Yeah.
And we open with Pillman and Liger because, you got the action. The next segment is Hogan cutting a promo about Pastamania.
That's the
only way you can follow Pillman and Liger.
Straight to your point there. Like, all right, we got everyone hooked. We should get some pasta, brother.
So from 94 to 96, we got the red and yellow Hogan. Not a great era for WCW. There's the amazing moment where the Yeti comes out and him and the Big Show, I think it was the Big Show, they just kind of like double hug Hogan, and the Yeti just kind of like, he was in his feud with
I feel like we might have talked about this in one of the archive episodes, but do you guys know the story behind the Yeti and why it was a Yeti? There was actually a mummy and all that.
No, I don't believe so.
I think I remember you telling, but I don't remember the details.
So Hogan had a fucking hard-on for wanting to work with Elegante, with Giant Gonzalez. So they were going to do a white fur suit version of that for him.
Yeah.
The Yeti was supposed to be Giant Gonzalez, but something fell through. He didn't come in. It might have been something medical, actually, that he didn't come in. So they just fucking took a power plant dude, and they're like, well, this fucking outfit doesn't fit. Make him look like a mummy. But yeah, it's supposed to be a white suit Giant Gonzalez.
Oh, so it's such a terrible, terrible moment in professional wrestling. Was it Reese that was the Yeti?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So during the 94-96 run, Hogan feuded with Ric Flair, the Dungeon of Doom, Vader.
Dungeon of Doom sent him to the land where there were no Hulkamaniacs. Apparently the water isn't the temperature you'd assume it is either.
So like Earth, where there's no Hulkamaniacs?
There's no Hulkamaniacs here. He would also feud with the Giant, where they would have an incredible monster truck rooftop match.
Yeah.
Where he killed him. He killed a man. Like, he killed the Giant right there.
Again, a heel move, if I do say so myself. Murder.
Murder is here.
This would all change, though, at Bash of the Beach on July 7th, after the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, had invaded WCW, and it was going to be the Outsiders, Nash and Hall, against Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger, right? So, and then there was going to be a third man for the NWO, and nobody knew who it was. And then it came down. Hogan comes out and looks like he's going to save the Macho Man. And again, credit to Bobby the Brain Heenan, who was the only one to be like, well, whose side is he on? Like, kind of just give up.
Right.
I hate that line. I do.
Got edited out of all the stuff.
Because it is.
Yeah, WWE edits it. Yeah, WWE edited it out. And I'm glad they did. I think it
really doesn't make any fucking sense as a commentator.
Well, it does.
To question
His whole career, he questioned Hogan, so I kind of get it from that perspective.
It wasn't out of character.
He didn't know it was going to be Hogan. He was just doing a shtick that he'd always done. Oh, Hogan's piece of shit. Is he?
He actually didn't know Hogan was.
It does make sense from a character, but I guess if you're going to like, and you're running it now in the future as a WWF, you're WWE, you're kind of like, let's just take that out. Like, they didn't think that he was going to be the bad guy. So he would actually turn on Savage and join Nash and Hall, forming the New World Order, brother. And he told the fans that they could stick it. One of the defining moments of professional wrestling. Like, I still didn't like Hogan. Like, I started liking him more when he started coming out to like Jimi Hendrix. I actually kind of liked Hogan during his Hollywood Hogan run for like a month or two, and then the NWO just went batshit insane and got terrible.
I loved the Hollywood Hogan, like the character of him. I knew his matches were garbage at the time, but I still loved the character. I loved the swagger of the NWO. Like, it was like a cool thing, the spray painting NWO and stuff. I was like right in that perfect age group for it, like 13 years old, where I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
He really was so much better as a heel. Like,
he was so cool. Like, and he was like in his 40s, and like teenagers thought he was cool, which was kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, he was kind of an old man, really, but
he was in his mid to late 30s. Hold on. Mid to late 30s in WCW.
Yeah, that's right.
Not 40s.
Yeah, we always think Hogan was so old, but he really wasn't. Yeah, he's like 40 in Hollywood. In Hollywood Hogan's peak.
Did any of you actually see Bash at the Beach the night it was airing, though?
Yeah.
Or did you watch it later?
No, I saw it that night.
I watched it the night.
No, I watched the Nitro
The
after.
rumors
I
leading
didn't
up
get
to
to
it.
make
So-
reviews.
Back then, there was a hotline you could call, at least in my area, where they did like news and rumors on wrestling.
Mhm.
And the hot tips for who the third man was going to be was either Mabel or the British Bulldog. So like I didn't see Hogan coming at all.
Man, we missed out on that.
Right.
God, Draven's just popping off these stories I didn't know about. They're great.
Pro wrestling might not be around right now if that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like, there's a good
WCW
chance
would
if
have
it was a
folded.
British Bulldog, wrestling would have just sort of like went away.
Could you
Because
imagine
we wouldn't have got the Monday Night Wars.
British Bulldog just doing the Hollywood Hogan character though? That's just so weird to picture.
So at the time, we had a little black box that would get us the pay-per-views,
Yes.
and then my family was recording every single like they would do. All right, this is the May pay-per-view, so it would have the WCW, the WWE, WWF, and then even the ECW pay-per-views all on like one tape for each month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so
Oh,
we'd watch them happen. And VHS, did that throw everybody? Sorry.
I have like 600 of them, so.
no, listen to this. I had the most intensive Monday Night Wars tape collection of anyone. So the people that raised me owned a video store. So I had unlimited video boxes, like the nice clear ones. Every Monday he had to give me one, and I would record both Raw and Nitro for 4 years straight.
Wow.
And I had index cards that had notes on it and what was on it, and then a rating from 1 to 10 on the bottom. So when I went back to watch them, I could know what were really good episodes. And even some matches I'd individually rate or star on the index card. So I knew, hey, this is a banger that I might want to go back and watch one day.
What a mark.
I remember you showing me those. We went to your house one time. I had to take you to your
Yes.
house.
I
It was
had
like one of the
a whole
first times we ever like went out to your house and you showed me those, and I was like, holy shit.
I had a closet full of milk crates, and I had them organized by date. That was
Yeah.
also on the index card.
Mhm.
So I had this extensive 4 years of Nitro and Raw. So at first I recorded them both on one tape, and then I was like, the quality's not good enough when you got to use SLP. I'm going to start using 2 tapes. So it got even more ridiculous, like as it went. And then when I moved out of my parents' house, I just left it because how do you tape, 500 VHS tapes where in your apartment you're living with your buddies? So, and then one day I came back and thought, I need to get these out of here and do something with them. I went upstairs and opened that closet, and it was completely empty. And I was like, went down to my mom and said, where are all my wrestling tapes? I threw all those away. We took all those to the dump. We loaded the truck up, and Danny got rid of those. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
And that was
So,
the last
yeah.
time you talked to her.
Yeah, pretty close.
You could have started your own WWE network.
I know at the time that was so valuable because there wasn't a WWE network. Like there was the DVDs coming out that they put out or whatever. But besides that, I had and I even had like a bottom shelf in my VCR cabinet thing that had my top Raws for the last few years that I would go back to. And like, oh, this one got bumped out, and here's my next one. Like, it was quite the system for before the WWE network.
Now we didn't record the weekly Monday Night Wars, but we would have the one like WWE'd be Raw would be on in me and my brother's room, and then in my mom's bedroom she would have Nitro on, and we would just run back and forth between rooms, like people in each room watching it, being like, "Hey, here's what's happening now." Doink's
See,
on.
I had a friend that we would be on the phone together during Monday nights, and I would watch WCW and he would watch WWF. But then if anything big was happening on either one, we'd be like, hey, flip over to this. So like we would be able to, that's how I used to watch. And then I would watch like recaps, like WWF would have whatever the Saturday morning show was, I think it was Saturday morning or Sunday,
Yeah,
something like that.
That was when Superstars and Challenge was on.
Yeah.
So I had to play this game with mine because I would record Raw. So I was like, I'm going to see Nitro later. Even if I go to sleep, I start recording it and it'll be all right. But still, I got to the point where I didn't want commercials in my tapes. So I would pause it during a commercial and sit there and I'd be like, and I'd be like, I was like, I can jump to WCW. It's not recording anyway. So I go over, but I have to play this game of you got to get back before Raw comes back on so you can hit unpause. And I lost that game a couple times. And I go back, like, oh, it's already started. Go.
Well, so after the NWO forms, Hogan beats the Giant at Hog Wild for the WCW World Title. And around this time, this is when the belts, and this was happening to WWF too, the belts would switch hands back and forth like almost week to week or at least month to month.
Speaking of the pay-per-view,
on an episode of Nitro,
of the pay-per-view Hog Wild, another random tidbit here. Do you guys know why it had to switch to Road Wild?
Yeah, I heard
Harley Davidson had a copyright on Hog.
Yes, Harley Davidson sued them because they own Hog Wild as a term.
Does no one check things before? Like, did that not happen back then?
1996. There's no widespread internet yet. How do you check that? Do you call somebody? Hey,
there's lawyers.
Go to the library. Go to the library. Check every book. Then go to the next library. Check every book.
I'm sure WCW had a lawyer on staff that would check trademarks and stuff. No? Okay, so they're paying a lawyer and then they're paying a lawsuit. That's good.
They had Turner lawyers, but they were busy doing real stuff for CNN or
that's true.
The Atlanta Braves or whatever.
So on an episode of Nitro on August 4th, he lost the title to Lex Luger. 5 days later at Road Wild, he would beat Lex Luger for the title. Then he would lose the title to Sting at Starrcade on December 28th in what was the biggest letdown of all time. We got a damn year of storytelling of Sting being the guy to, overcome the NWO.
I have a question for you guys on this one. Is this the first time? So I didn't know about WrestleMania 9. Is this the first time you actually knew when it happened that this was a political move by Hogan? Because you could already look at the internet at the time, and I would read some stuff I could find on the internet, but I knew, after this happened, this was Hogan's fault. I had read stuff that the finish got changed and Hogan didn't want to do jobs and all that kind of stuff. It was really the first time I'd ever heard of politicking in wrestling.
I didn't know that or anything, but I was just so confused. I was just what the hell happened? It just made it. I think if I would have known that kind of thing at the time, where I was well, that was Hogan. At least then I could have just been oh, okay, Hogan politic to win. But I was just what? It was just bad.
The very first thing I did with the internet was wrestling rumors. I was ate up with that stuff.
I missed that.
It was my homepage on my thing, and sometimes I just sit and refresh and just hang out, listen to music on there, be oh, let's refresh, nothing. WrestleZone.
Because I did the same thing. I knew all the bullshit that had been going on, Hogan's whole run in WCW. Only wanted to work the same dudes he worked before. Wanted to do the Dungeon of Doom was his shit. So it didn't surprise me. It wasn't the first time, but just the range of excuses that you hear years afterwards why that happened. He wasn't tan enough. He was messed up on pills. He was going through a divorce. All these just things slandering Sting. And it just boils down to
but here's the thing,
their biggest buy rate. He knew it was going to be their biggest buy rate, and he didn't want to lose in front of the biggest audience WCW ever drew. That's what it was.
Yes. Because even if all those things were true, if Sting was on pills and in a bad shape and all this other stuff, you're okay, then have him lose. But if he's going to win, make him win. It doesn't if he came in there messed up, then just change the finish and have Hogan just go over then and ruin it.
It all just ended up being Sting won the rematch 2 months later at Super Bowl or whatever the fuck it was. They still ended in the exact same spot they were going to anyways. Just Hogan had to lose that match in front of the biggest audience they ever had.
And it would never have again because of that.
I don't know at what point I got super smart about that. I was always checking WrestleZone also.
They still exist.
I feel when now I need to start getting on there again.
I do if I need a card results, yeah.
I've been doing this long enough that when we watch Raw or whatever, Keisha's okay, we get it. You understand where the story's going and what's about to happen, and yeah. I feel the time that I was just clearly Hogan is just in power to do what he wants is when the Renegade came back. And at that point, I was like, so we had Booty Man, we had Zodiac, we had, like, as you said, the greatest thing that ever happened to Ed Leslie was deciding to be his tag partner all those years ago. But at that point, I was like, clearly, you only have a job because of the man you know, and this has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Are you talking about the Disciple?
Oh, I said, oh, not the Renegade. Sorry, that's a Warrior knockoff. I meant the Disciple. Sorry.
Do you think Ed Leslie's kids know that Hogan comes before them?
I don't think he has kids.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say like he's grown up, or they've grown up with that happening.
Or he doesn't have kids, and that means that Hogan didn't allow him to have any loved ones more than Hogan, so he made him get sterilized so that he'll always be number one.
That means Ed Leslie doesn't come before Hogan either. Then
there's another Hogan story that his friends sterilized themselves so that.
We need to know.
He's still waiting. He might be able to now.
That's the question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? It's the term we'll never know.
So yeah, quick shout out to 4-in-1 Mania. That was my wrestling source, and I realized
I remember them.
So I didn't have internet at the time. Like I didn't have a computer or the internet at that time. So I had the same dude that I would be on the phone with during the Monday Night Wars. He would tell me stuff, but he would always say, "My source told me," and I was always like, "Who's your source?" Because I didn't know like the internet had all this stuff on it.
Now, see, I do know this guy's story. See, Draven, I already know this, but continue.
And the source was Dustin. Yeah, so Dustin just had the internet and was able to tell
which is the guy who came up with my name I've used in wrestling for 23 years.
He's the guy that got me my first tryout. I mean,
all right, we got to cut him in on the proceeds of the podcast. I hear you two.
He is he was a source, like big time for.
Is it
that wasn't a lie?
So, are you guys talking about Sir Owen?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he was my buddy's source, and when I found out that he was just a dude that had the internet, I was like, "That's not as cool." Like,
I just needed a cooler name than Kid Inferno, and he was a big E-Fed. He had all this things like, "Give me some cool names you got," and he had a couple. And one of them was Terrific T.J. Andrews, which I like that one too, or Violent Vance Desmond, because he had him as basically his Edge and Christian ripoffs in his E-Fed or whatever.
He gave Trevor Trout the Vance Desmond name.
Yeah.
And then you were like, "That's a pretty good name. I'm taking it." You're not. Yeah. Like Trevor Trout was already a guy we Piper's daughter, so he won.
Yeah, a guy we backyarded with wanted to be Vance Desmond. Like, no, you're not. No, I'm taking this.
So at one point, Hogan kind of like drops out of the title picture, and they start doing a lot of celebrity stuff with him. Hogan and Karl Malone would team up and take on
Dennis Rodman.
And
speaking of pieces of shit,
it was Hogan and Rodman. Malone and DDP.
Yeah.
Speaking of pieces of shit, you guys know what a piece of shit Karl Malone turned out to be?
No, I don't.
Did you know this?
I don't know this.
Real big piece of shit.
He knocked up a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, he likes the youngins.
God damn.
Yeah, and his son has nothing to do with him.
Yeah, because he's such a piece of shit. Yeah.
His son, I think, is an NFL player, or
yes.
Yeah, and he has like nothing to do with him. So also on this match, did we already? No, we didn't talk about this. Do you guys know Pablo Torre? I already talked about Bomani Jones. Might as well talk about Pablo Torre too.
Mm-hmm.
He was ESPN guy.
Yeah, I watched the podcast after you told me about it.
So they do a whole thing. There's an episode a few weeks back where they have a guy on that breaks down how this angle and match affected the NBA Finals that year.
Yes.
And it's crazy.
It's honestly pretty insane how, like, because Malone and Robin were buddies, so, like, they really hammed it up and, like, went out of their way to, like, get into scuffles and stuff. And they have, like, they show the clips of Bob Costas on commentary, and he fucking hates it. Like, is just pissed the whole time. But then they interview Bob Costas like now, and he is still pissed about it. Like he fucking hates it.
I've seen some of that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like because he would even he even said fake wrestling. They're doing
Yeah.
a fake wrestling match coming up. And I was like, wow.
Jeez.
Talked about how they were like patting each other on their butts a lot. Like
It's
Right.
bad.
Yeah,
We're scuffling,
good.
and now
If you
we're
guys haven't
gonna
watched it,
smile
find it.
and
It's called Pablo Torre Finds Out, and it's interesting to go back and watch it and be like, holy shit, they did kind of like the Jazz could have won the championship because like Dennis Rodman, like something could have happened where it could have affected. Well, Karl Malone's thing might have affected the Jazz. Like who knows?
my asterisk on this is if you're going to find the podcast, it's on YouTube with lots of video clips. Don't be like some people driving while you're trying to watch it or listen to it. I thought it was only going to be audio, and I made it safely to my destinations, but I'm just saying there was lots of looking down at my phone.
He would also team up with Eric Bischoff to face Dom Dallas Page and Jay Leno after Kevin Eubanks interfered. Do you guys remember when this was happening? Like, were you guys watching? Did you guys watch the late night shows too? I was big into the late night shows. I always
Me too.
watched Leno and Conan.
Yep, me too.
Yep.
Leno and Conan.
It blew
so
my
glad.
mind at the time.
So glad that they've stopped getting the late night shows involved in pay-per-view cards.
They just did you guys see the paper desk? I was like, my God, give the guy
Jelly
something to
roll.
go through. Jelly Roll did a choke slam
Yeah.
through Jimmy Fallon's desk. I don't know who's. And it was just like paper. I was like, oh my God. Kimmel, yeah.
Hogan also around this time announced his candidacy for president of the United States. He did that on the Tonight Show, Jay Leno. Of course, this wasn't true at all. He took some time off from WCW and returned on January 4th, 1999 to challenge Nash for the heavyweight championship. And what happened there? Finger poke of doom.
Confusion.
Do you guys remember Hogan at this period wearing like the giant Jenko jeans and stuff?
Mhm.
Hilarious.
He had to be 40 by then, right?
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
So he's
I remember watching the Finger Poke of Doom, and I just was like, what story are they trying to tell? Because I knew wrestling was a work, and I was just like, what? Where could this possibly go? It was like one of the first times where I was like, I just don't understand. Like I didn't really rate things on good or bad. And I didn't rate things on good or bad. I just watched what I like to watch and didn't really think about it that much.
right.
But I just
Same here.
Do you want me to
I
be
was
the
just like,
booking
I just
whisperer
don't
here?
know. Yeah.
Now, I'll be the booking whisperer here because it comes straight from the booker at the time. So when we did that PWO match, it was me, Brody Lee, Barry Fontaine, and Nash in our own locker room. And Brody kept just like fucking poking the bear, fucking with Nash the whole time. So what's up with the Finger Poke of Doom? What was supposed to happen there? Just trying to like fuck with him. And he laid out the whole booking. He's like, all right, so the deal is I'm the champ. I beat Goldberg, but I had to cheat. It used like a taser and Bam Bam Bigelow and all this other bullshit happened in the match. I'm scared that Goldberg could beat me. I don't have any backup. Let's put this whole fucking group together and put the belt back on Hogan and we'll protect the belt. He'd have to run through the entire NWO. So it was giving them time to build to a Hogan-Goldberg match at Starrcade 99 was the idea. He was going to, every month at a pay-per-view, go through a new guy till he climbs the ladder and gets back to Hogan and gets the belt back. That was the idea of it. Just giving him some henchmen to run through before he can get the title.
So they pull. I know there's a lot of parallels between WCW and AEW. People say, but did they pull an AEW does currently is not tell the backstory for us to get it? Then is that what happened? Like we just watch this. If they would have said, "Oh, he's in cahoots to protect the title," if they would have told me to protect the title, if that line was ever used, I would have understood, and it would have been an okay story. But, like, I think they pulled a bad commentary, AEW, not filling in the gaps for people. And I was, like, 14. I didn't get it.
That same night is the night that they had Shivani say that Mick Foley put asses in the seats because Foley won the belt that same night.
Uh-oh.
So their commentary was more worried about putting
Yeah.
on WWE and
Oh, it
what's
was.
going on there than telling their own stories.
I mean, really one of the worst nights in WCW Nitro. Like, just a terrible night all around. But Hogan would drop the belt to Flair to Uncensored in a First Blood match in a cage. He returned on July 12th, 1999, on an episode of Nitro. The first time as a face, and the first time for 3 years. And he accepted an open challenge from Savage, who had won the world title the night before. And Hogan would defeat Savage to win his 6th and final WCW World Heavyweight Championship on that night. August 9th, 1999.
How can that be explained by anything besides Hogan said, "I'll come back, but I want the belt now"? Like, that's the only explanation that makes sense.
The other
And I want to beat
explanation
Savage
that makes
for it.
sense-
Yeah.
And I want to be.
The other explanation is Bischoff was the guy running it, and Bischoff was the biggest Hogan mark of them all. Hogan didn't have to say, "Put the belt back on me." Bischoff wanted the belt on him at all times.
That's true. That's true.
August 9th, 1999, Hogan defeats Nash at Road Wild to retain his belt. On September 12th, Hogan retained the title again against Sting. And then October 24th at Halloween Havoc, more shenanigans. Hogan was booked to face Sting for the title. Hogan came to the ring in street clothes, laid down in the middle of the ring for the pin. Sting pinned him, and Hogan left the ring. This was a work shoot from the mind of...
It's not Sting, it was Jarrett.
No, it was Sting.
This was
this
was
a year
before that.
What you're thinking?
Oh.
Hogan.
This has happened twice.
This was
There's lots of just laying down in WCW.
This was
Whoa,
Russo's
I didn't
first
remember
run as
this.
Booker. This was Russo just
Yeah.
comes in October, and they do that to get Hogan out of there because they were going to bring him back later for whatever the fuck they had in mind.
Oh. Okay. I didn't remember that one.
Because Sting was like, selling it like he's confused and doesn't know what the hell's going on, and like, yeah. But this was a work shoot.
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Then in 2000, the most random thing in the entire world, Hogan feuded with Billy Kidman, which is just so weird.
So here's some of my Hogan research today. I saw a clip of Hogan just straight not working, just shooting on Billy Kidman in an interview. They're talking about wrestling business-wise, what it makes sense, and he's like, Hogan's in the story, he's like, these guys are only drawing like $30,000, $40,000 with seats. They announced me for a match. He goes, $150,000. He goes, and you got guys who just can't do this at this kind of level. He said, you look at a guy like Billy Kidman, he couldn't sit out a bingo hall. He's like, he's got no size, he's got no charisma. He's like, he'll never be a star in it. I'm like, wow. Like, he's not working. It's not part of the angle because he's just talking straight business. And he's talking in
his shit talking came first, and then Russo turned it into a story later. But yeah, there was no work to that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, their feud was voted worst feud of the year by the readers of the Wrestling Newsletter Observer. And according to Eric Bischoff, Hogan didn't want to work with Kidman, but he did it to increase morale of the roster because so many people didn't think they were getting opportunities in WCW. So it was a way to try to be like, look, see, guys, we're like letting one of you wrestle Hogan.
So not even reading dirt sheets, I knew that. I'm like, clearly that's people are mad, and like people are leaving. All the good wrestlers are leaving for the WWF, so clearly that's what's happening here.
So then comes what you were thinking of. July 9th at Bash at the Beach, Hogan was scheduled to challenge Jeff Jarrett for the world title. Jarrett comes out, just lays down. Hogan pins him, and this was, depending on who you believe, everybody's got their own version of how this all went down. Some say it was a work shoot that everybody was on board with. Others say that it wasn't, and there was a plan that then got fucked with. So it just kind of depends. I don't know what to believe, really. I feel like Bischoff's side is probably the most true.
So I think it's a half and half. So it was this part was a work. The part when Russo comes out and rips Hogan a new one and does a new world title match, that's a shoot.
So I listened to a lot of the Bischoff podcast. So from what I've pieced together from all the different sides, Russo wanted Jarrett to win, but Bischoff was brought back as Russo's boss, and he told him no. So they came up.
You cut out. Hey, Mega.
Yeah.
We lost you for a second.
Can you hear me now?
We lost you all that.
Okay. So piecing it together. Can you hear me now? Piecing it together.
Yes.
Everything. Russo wanted Jarrett to win that night, but Bischoff was brought back as Russo's boss and said, no, we don't want to do that. So they came up with this idea. The idea was Hogan would win the belt from him laying down, and he'd ride off into the sunset for a few months. They'd build up and do the original idea was a tournament to get the belt on Booker T. Booker T would be champ for a few months. Hogan would come back and put him over, supposedly, with a unification thing to actually build a new star. That was the idea of it, but Russo went out there in the unscripted promo that they didn't know about and said what he said, and that fucked it all up.
Well, that led to a lawsuit filed by Hogan against Russo for defamation of character. It was dismissed in 2022 because really, I mean, how are you going to prove that? Like, all you got to do is say no. It was all planned. It was dismissed
just in 2022.
2002.
Oh, I was like, my God, that went on forever then.
And then No Way Out, WWE, February 17th, 2002. Hogan returns to WWF as a heel, bringing back the NWO with him. The iconic moment where Vince McMahon spins around in his chair.
Me. Venom. Poison.
Lethal dose of poison.
And then Tim would see Hogan and The Rock at WrestleMania 18, which really was a gigantic moment in pro wrestling. I mean,
and I was only 27 rows from the ring behind commentary.
Yeah,
I remember I was at the B-Dubs in Parkersburg watching it.
Almost as
so basically same thing.
Well, you know what's crazy?
I was too, probably.
I was 17 at this time. Me and my friends just went on eBay, bought these tickets without asking anyone to go to another country because it was in Toronto, and then just decided we were going to go. And my mom has a parenting style of whatever. So I was fine, but none of my friends' parents agreed. They were like, no, you guys are not leaving the country. So one of our friends' dads had to buy tickets for him and his brother to go to the show as well, just so we would be allowed to go to WrestleMania. And they didn't sit with us because they bought their tickets way later, and they were way up in the top or whatever. But yeah, I had to go through some issues to get out of the country for this.
Well, Hogan would be drafted to SmackDown on the inaugural draft lottery. And on the April 4th episode of SmackDown, Hogan would begin feuding with Triple H. He defeated Triple H for the undisputed WWF Championship at Backlash on April 21st. And 2 weeks later, WWF changed its name to WWE, making Hogan the final WWF champion and the first WWE champion, technically.
Yeah, which is crazy.
They had to get that F out.
He would then lose the belt to The Undertaker. He began feuding with Kurt Angle. He would team with Edge to defeat Billy and Chuck to capture the WWE Tag Team Championships for the first time. He would also get into an angle with Brock Lesnar, which is that where Zach Gallen got involved? Okay.
My tag team partner.
Yeah. He would go on a hiatus for a while, then come back facing The Rock once again, who was now a heel. And then he would wrestle Vince McMahon on March 30th at WrestleMania. What is that, 19?
Okay, here I got a question. It'll fit around this time frame because we worked with guys in this time frame. What's your one separation of Hogan? Mine's Zach Gallen, I guess.
Yeah, Zach Gallen.
Mine could be Eugene, I guess, but like all of us have worked with someone who worked with Hogan, right?
I got a bunch. Yeah, Zach Gallen.
Yeah, I've worked Gallen.
X-Pac.
Kevin Nash, yeah. Me,
I named my three-legged cat Zach Meowen, and then I met Gowan with Tim, and he told me that was the greatest thing he had ever heard. So I
Because
guess
I was
that's
like-
my 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah, I introduced Jason, and I go, "Hey, I'm sitting here talking to Zach." I was like, "Oh, this is my buddy Jason." I go, "Oh," and I think of Zach. I was like, "He's got a cat named Zach Meowen," because when they found him, he's missing a leg or whatever. He's like, "That is the best thing ever." He's like, "I want a picture with that cat." But,
It never happened. Upsetting.
So McMahon storyline would then force Hogan to sit out the rest of his contract, and Hogan would, well, a wrestler named Mr. America would make his debut. And much like the El Grande Americano, Hogan refused to admit it was him.
This is my favorite Hogan lie. This is when, under a lie detector, he says, "I'm not Hulk Hogan. I'm not a pervert." There it is.
I would love to see the results of that lie detector.
Oh God, the machine blew up. Allegedly.
We unfortunately get a singles match between Hogan, or Mr. America, and Roddy Piper at Judgment Day on May 18th. We were well past those two needing to be in the ring together at that point.
What?
Like, we were already a few years removed from them just absolutely
That's
stinking
the
it
one
out.
where
WCW.
Piper painted half of his body blue, right? That was that event.
So
It was red, white, and
No.
blue.
in
Yeah.
'96.
Red, white, and
In '96, when Hogan and Piper are on top of WCW, and WWE's ranting and raving about age in the cage and how they're too old to be, then like 8 years after that, they're running the match in WWE. Like, what the fuck are they thinking?
Yeah. Well, it was after this, there was a few other things he would do, and then he would actually get frustrated with WWE. He was unhappy with his payoffs for his matches at the time. So he had actually left WWE at the time, but storyline-wise, McMahon showed footage of Mr. America unmasking as Hogan, which was grounds for firing him.
Here's a question I got for you guys. Did Hogan and Flair, just those two really, set the trend of wrestlers performing at main event status in their 40s and even 50s? Because before them, was that ever, like, did we have anybody, when they were younger, who was the guys doing that?
And how far back are we going? Because the territories would get their golden goose and run them into the ground
was
everywhere.
right.
Yeah, but even
Vern
those,
Gagne
when
was
you
still
hear
on top
stories
of the
about it, those
AWA
guys,
in his late 50s. Vern Gagne.
I guess Jerry Lawler maybe, but he was kind of already gone by the time he was like, what, 45 maybe?
I don't know.
But I feel like they kind of paved the way for the older guys wrestles today, because like now that's a normal thing. Like 40s is not a big deal in wrestling at all.
No. I mean, and the guys they don't look older.
40.
Because like Hogan and them looked older than that at the time.
Yeah, like Finn Balor's older than Hogan.
Hogan looked in his 40s when he had his first WWE run. Like, he looked like an old-ass fucking man out of the gate.
Right.
Yeah, but like CM Punk is still going strong. John Cena's not going strong, but he's going. And there's a lot of guys in their mid to late 40s who are still.
Edge, Christian.
AJ.
Yeah.
AJ. Yeah. And then in 2003, I didn't know this, but Hogan returned to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he defeated Masahiro Chono at Ultimate Crush 2 in the Tokyo Dome. This was supposed to lead, because then Jeff Jarrett comes out and attacks Hogan after the match, which was supposed to lead to Hogan taking on Jarrett for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship at TNA's first 3-hour pay-per-view. But Hogan had knee and hip problems, so he did not appear at the time. So that kind of all went to shit.
Yeah.
Hogan returned to the WWE from 2005 to 2007, where he would work programs with Shawn Michaels. He would still do another Michaels would appear on Piper's Pit and challenge Hogan to face him one-on-one for the first time. And I think that was when we got the amazing oversell.
I've watched that match here in the past like 6 months because Fee had heard the story and I talked about it. I was like, "Well, you've seen that match." And, I've never seen the whole match, just like a clip of it. And I said, "Oh, okay, that's what we're doing." So we sat and watched it, and she loves it, So, because she's never seen like that's never happened in her lifetime where someone just went out there and did that on TV. Like, and so when she saw that, it just blew her mind. Like, she's like, "I can't believe you did this."
I mean, it's crazy that it happened. Like, imagine that happening now. Imagine,
Right.
imagine at SummerSlam this weekend, CM Punk doesn't for whatever reason, doesn't think anything of Gunther, and he goes out and just oversells, flops around.
Let me be devil's advocate. Let me be a little bit of devil's advocate.
Okay.
What is that much different with Shawn Michaels selling for him versus when he had his program with Mr. Perfect in 1990?
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's just not Shawn Michaels' style of selling. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think Shawn Michaels took it to the point that it was a problem. It just was clearly making a statement. But there was nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Like that, so I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. And like Shawn Michaels will not sell a big boot into a back bump, into a standing, into a front flip bump. Like that's just like never, ever.
True story. Took inspiration from this match. One time I was pissed off at a show doing something I didn't want to do. They were sending some shitty dude out. I don't know if you've ever heard of Riot from up in the New York area, but he did a run-in on a match I was doing on this shitty small-time show, and he clotheslines me over the top rope, and I continue to just forward roll all the way down the entranceway to the curtain, and then turn around and rolled all the way back to the ring.
That's amazing.
I haven't heard that story either. What the hell is going on here?
For the video
You have
podcast.
Right.
You have video of that?
I would have to.
No,
look.
I said, how do I not know this?
No, I asked Draven if he had
I'd
video.
have to look. I might actually have that one. Yeah.
I need to see that.
Yeah.
I'll look.
So this is another thing I did not know happened until I started looking up, Hogan's history. In 2009, November 21st, 24th, 26th, and 28th, Hogan performed in an independent wrestling tour across Australia titled Hulkamania Let the Battle Begin, and the main event of each show was a rematch between Hogan and Flair, where Hogan won every match.
Here's another good story I've never told you that relates to this. So around this time frame,
oh my God,
I was working PWR.
I'm getting mad.
Me and Jamie and Jeff were pretty close at the time. We'd go out drinking a bunch, hang out. 3-4 o'clock in the morning, we get back to Jeff's house after a night of drinking. They're like, "All right, let's prank call some people." So they start giving me numbers, not even telling me who I'm calling. And I'm calling with my best Hulk Hogan voice. "Hey, brother, we're going to Brisbane right now. We're going to Melbourne. You want to get in on the tour to Australia?" And I'm telling you, I pranked a lot of people. Let's see. I probably shouldn't even name names, but let's just say Hacksaw Jim Duggan was one of them.
He was already packing his bags.
But it's like
midway through the convo.
One of Jamie's favorite stories is, you remember that time you were telling people you're going to Brisbane and you're doing your Hogan voice? I can't remember who it was. One of them, it was just a local indie guy I called doing that. "Hey, you want to go to Brisbane, brother?" And he's like, "I have a broken leg," and I dropped the entire Hogan act. I'm like, "Hey, man, it's Omega. You broke your leg? That sucks, dude. I'm sorry."
I think our next episode will be Omega Aaron Draven Untold. And it'll be all of his stories.
There's a lot.
And I'm just getting madder and madder. He's like, so me and Triple H hung out one time, and he's like, "You want to bring in your buddies?" And I was like, "No, I can't think of anybody who would want to come to this."
Yeah, he's like, did I ever tell you guys about the time that Triple H went to the moon with me and we had the first ever match on the moon? Did I ever tell you guys that story?
It's weird you say that. Me and my daughter were playing an AI generator story thing, and we had to think of the most ridiculous story we could, and it was a wrestling match on the moon. So you just thought samesies.
On December 5th, Hogan announced on the UFC's The Ultimate Fighter that he would make his official TNA debut on January 4th, 2010. Which was a special live 3-hour Monday night episode of Impact to compete with WWE's Raw, which featured the return of Bret Hart on that night. You guys remember? Did you guys watch that?
I did.
Yeah. Yes. And it was crazy. Because not only did they announce he was coming, but then Hall and X-Pac are just in the audience and like, we don't know why they're here. They weren't invited. What?
Didn't that first Impact that he was
Then Hogan's like, security.
Didn't it start with Homicide getting stuck trying to get out of that domed cage? He couldn't
Sure did.
That was the very first thing they did, I think.
I watched a review of this episode of TNA here, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, just randomly trying to find something to watch on YouTube. So they talked about the Homicide thing, and yeah, I saw it just recently. So
I remember when this was announced, and I decided, because I hadn't watched TNA in a while, because like me and Tim and some other people used to get all the weekly TNA pay-per-views, and then like throughout the years, TNA was just getting real bad. Like I just lost complete interest in it, didn't watch it, and then I remember this being announced as on a Monday night, going against Raw. So I thought I'll give TNA another chance. This could be like a new start for them. And immediately afterwards, I don't think I watched TNA again for like another 5 years.
And the only time I got to work for TNA was right before the Hogan era.
Yeah. So Hogan would take Abyss under his wing and give him his Hall of Fame ring, and claimed that it would make Abyss a god of wrestling.
A WWE ring.
Yeah.
He's now immortal.
He would team with Abyss on the March 8th episode of Impact against AJ Styles and Ric Flair. Now this was supposed to be Jason's part, because Jason was supposed to do a full rewatch of the Hogan TNA run. So
the complete history of TNA's Immortal faction was 3 hours long. Yeah, I didn't watch it. What I can tell you is the night that they announced this faction, you got Hogan, you got Abyss, and Abyss says, "I'll die for you," and then it's hit the two of them and Bischoff in the ring. Then out comes Jarrett, and they're like, "We couldn't have done this without him, the man that founded TNA." So then Jarrett gets in the ring and he's like, "Dixie Carter's daddy bought this building for me and bought this. If it wasn't for them, she'd never have it." I'm like, what is happening? And then he's like, "Hogan, I love you." And he's like, "Now you're immortal." Like, okay. So then out comes Flair with Fortune that has 8 members, because they were twice as good as the Four Horsemen. Something like that. Y'all remember. And then I had to sit and be like, who the hell are these people? So then Flair takes his coat off and says that him and Hogan need to go at it one more time, just one-on-one. They get in each other's face and then hug, and then everyone in the ring starts shaking hands. Then they say, and the new TNA champion, Jeff Hardy, we couldn't have done this without him either. So then Hardy comes out. They just completely skipped the whole let's slowly build the faction to the point of we've already split into two because we're immortal and we're Fortune. Then they brought Nash out, and then at that point I was like, I can't watch 3 more hours of this to see how many more people end up in the ring before the night's over. Yeah. It was interesting, though.
More great Hulk Hogan TNA shenanigans happened in November of 2012 when he started a storyline with Bully Ray after it was revealed that Bully Ray was in a relationship with Hogan's daughter, Brooke.
We know that that's not true because she likes
oh god,
thinner guys.
Yeah, that's it. Hogan, who was at the time,
I mean, isn't it Hogan's dream to have his daughter date like a white supremacist biker? I mean, that was her gimmick, right? Allegedly.
I mean, bikers. I don't know about the white supremacist part.
Devon was in a group with them.
Devon was with them, and D'Lo.
Well,
you know too much about aces and eights.
Oh yeah, you know too much. First of all, you know too much about aces and eights, and I'll give you
Devon. Is that what they were called?
I won't give you D'Lo. I'm not sure.
The complete history of Aces and Eights was only an hour and a half long, so that one I could watch.
Well, during the Aces and Eights run, Hogan was the general manager at the time, storyline wise. So he suspended Bully Ray, which seems like an overreach of power to me.
Conflict of interest at the very least.
The following week on Impact, Bully Ray would save Brooke from being kidnapped by Aces and Eights, and Brooke would accept his marriage proposal. And even though Hogan didn't approve, he would walk Brooke down to the aisle for the wedding, and then Bully Ray's groomsman Taz interrupted and revealed himself as a member of the Aces and Eights, and led the group to attack Hogan and Ray and the rest of the groomsmen.
That son of a
Hogan
bitch.
reinstated Bully Ray.
Shit.
And after reinstating him, named him the number one champion of the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Again, a bit of an abuse of power. And then some more random shit happened with TNA.
That's just the TNA history. Some random shit happened.
Yeah.
On the October 3rd episode of Impact Wrestling in 2013, Hogan refused an offer from Dixie Carter to become her business partner and quit. This was a way to officially write Hogan off because his contract expired, and Hogan returned to the WWE in February of 2014. Hogan came out to introduce the guest appearances of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Joe Manganiello, to promote their new film Sabotage, which I don't know if you remember that one.
It's weird. Hogan can pronounce Arnold's last name really well.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
What?
We
What
got
do
a
you
soundbite
guys?
of that? We got a soundbite?
He nails it. That's hard. That's a hard last name. I'm worried about saying it. But Hogan, he nails it.
So that's pretty much Hogan's wrestling career. So let's get in to the rest of his life.
I started it right there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
So in July 2015, the National Enquirer and Radar Online publicized a racist rant made by Hogan on a leaked sex tape that was recorded in 2007.
Listen to all that.
What?
I said, listen to all that. That's a crazy story.
That's a crazy sentence.
Yeah.
So, and then on July 24, 2015, again, exactly 10 years before Hogan would pass away, Gawker, a extremely popular blog at the time, would release the audio of Hogan's rant about Brooke Hogan's dating life. I'm going to be very careful with my quote here.
Okay.
This is where it gets good, boys.
Hulk Hogan, quote, "I mean, I don't have double standards. I mean, I am a racist to a point. Effing N-words," Hogan said. "But then when it comes to nice people and shit and whatever, I mean, I'd rather if she was going to F some N-word, I'd rather have her marry an 8-foot-tall N-word worth $100 million. Like a basketball player. I guess we're all a little racist. Effing N-word."
No, we're not.
No, we're not
We're not all
racist.
racist.
Like, there's racism, and then there is fucking racism.
Like, I'm proud to be, is what he said. Like, well, yeah. I mean, sure, come on. What's wrong with it? Jesus.
The further audio leaks would happen after his son Nick was involved in a car wreck because he was basically racing his car drunk, and it would end up leaving his friend John Graziano with permanent brain damage, and Nick would be in jail for that. And during the phone calls between Nick and Linda Hogan and Hulk Hogan,
Terry,
we get, very empathetic parents is what they were towards Nick, not really anybody else. On the tape, Nick is heard basically whining about the situation he's in and how the room's not up to his liking because he can't see anything, and he's, his buddy who will never really see anything properly again or function properly, not really worried about him. Nick asks his father, Hogan, will you work on that reality deal for me and get that thing lined up so the minute I walk out of wherever I walk out of, it's there? And Hogan asks, can you do that while you're on probation? Nick says yes. So then Hogan says, yeah, okay. Do you want to do it with pink sneakers or someone else? Which Nick replies, I want to do it where I'll make the most money. And Hogan says, well, then you'll need to do it with me, Jason, and Eric. Eric, because I'm sure, I don't know if who was Pink Sneakers?
A production.
I think a production company that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hogan would then say, if I'm producing the show, I won't screw you. You know that. And Nick says, yeah, of course. Hulk says, I'll get you everything. I'll make you an owner. Nick says, yeah. Hogan says, you own the show. Let me get to work on that with Eric. It's a lot easier, too. Then Hogan says, the new Nick. We'll call it the new Nick or something. And then Hogan says, or something. We'll come up with a good name. Think of a good name. Nick says, I'll be thinking of a good name. It would be Reality Show, how I'm getting back on my feet and how I'm recovering after this. A celebrity out of jail show.
And I'll stop right here. This is some good spitballing. I've had these kind of comments. Hey, let's do this show. Yeah, let's do this show. What are you going to call it? I don't know. Maybe something like this. I've had these conversations, but not the rest of it.
Yeah. Hogan's also, Hogan basically blamed the victim by saying, I don't know what type of person John was or what he did to get himself in this situation. He got in the car with your drunken
Got in the car
son.
with you.
That's like the Joe Rogan thing. I'm just asking questions. I don't know what he did. I'm not saying he did do something, but I don't know.
I know he was pretty aggressive and used to yell at people and used to do stuff. For some reason, man, God laid some heavy shit on that kid, man. I don't know what he was into.
Explain his bad things. Yelled?
He was aggressive and he yelled, Tim.
He deserves to die.
Right. Karma is a bitch.
That's the best negatives they could come up for this kid. Like, he's like, he had a temper when he was mad at rightfully so things, and he would yell. They're like, off with his head.
Well, Nick would reinforce this by saying, yeah, John was a negative person. So, fuck him.
Negative Nancy, more like it.
Can you please get me out of here and give me a bunch of money on a reality show, please? And then also from those audio leaks where he was talking to Nick over the phone, he would use carny talk. And he said, you know that God gave you this vibe and this energy that you and I are going to live forever, bro. I just hope we don't come back as a couple. I don't want to say it. Blizak Gazais. You know what I'm saying? Hogan was so racist, he was worried about being reincarnated as a black person, but he used the slick carny language of Blizak Gazais.
Who could guess what that could possibly be?
He would issue an apology through People magazine. People magazine, of course, being a famously, black-oriented magazine publication.
See, black barbershop stacked up people.
Right.
Where Hogan would say, yeah, 8 years ago, I used some offensive language during a conversation. It was unacceptable for me to have used that offensive language. There is no excuse for it, and I apologize for having done it. That is not who I am. Well, to say the things that he said and what he thought were private conversations.
Well, and you literally said in that conversation, I guess I'm a racist.
Right.
To a point.
You said that is who you are.
Yeah, but to a point, Jason. Only to a point.
No.
And according to Hogan, we're all a little racist.
Well, let's go over the defense some of the Hogan defense people have, this is a ridiculous one. A ridiculous one is those were private conversations, and he would never say that in public. And I'm like, I think that's worse. Right. I said, I won't even when I was a teenager in the car by myself, if the N-word comes on a song, I don't say it. Like, I'm just like, no, not I'm by myself. So
it's so much worse when you're doing it and you think it's private, no one's going to hear it. Like that's
yes.
So Hogan would say that the N-word was used liberally among friends in Tampa when he was growing up, but most of his former neighbors would dispute this.
That's my grandma's
They were also white. They were using it, but they were also white.
But even after all of the controversy, like Mattel quit making Hogan, or they stopped producing Hogan action figures. His toys were taken down from Target, Toys R Us, and Walmart. WWE would terminate their contract with him and state that they are committed to embracing and celebrating individuals from all backgrounds. But that didn't last too long. Hogan would come back in 2018 when he was reinstated into the Hall of Fame. He would then return on January 7th, 2019 on Raw. He would appear...
Was there anything done to get them to reinstate him? If so, I don't remember.
Do you mean like on TV or just...
No, I'm just saying, did Hogan go on some kind of apology thing I didn't know about? Did he do something? Or they just randomly decided one day, you know what? Hulk Hogan, he's back.
So we skipped over the era of my favorite Hogan lie, so we'll get it because it's intertwined in all the scandals here. But when he sued Gawker for releasing the sex tape on the witness stand, he was talking about how, well, yeah, Hulk Hogan has a 10-inch penis, but I'm Terry Bollea, and my penis isn't 10 inches. That's just the character of Hulk Hogan that has a 10-inch penis.
So in this child's character, you either think he made up that on the stand, right? Or that was part of his origin story all along, and we just didn't know. And he thought, you know what? I need to think of a penis size that this character would have. I've never put that much detail into my character work.
No.
So I can appreciate a guy who really goes for the arts.
24-inch pythons and a 10-inch penis. I mean, that's what they always say, right?
Yeah. That's what the original shirt said, and then they took it off. But...
That is the episode title right there.
Well, Tim, maybe in answer to your question, there were numerous African American wrestlers associated with or people associated with wrestling who started coming out offering some support of Hogan. Virgil would say that Hogan had never given him a reason to believe that he was racist. Dennis Rodman said that he most certainly is not a racist. And the Ugandan giant Kamala said, I do not think Hogan meant harm by saying that. Hogan is my brother until he decides not to be. Okay.
He had already decided.
So, yeah, he came back in 2018 where he talked to all the wrestlers backstage to apologize. The New Day, Titus O'Neil, Mark Henry, Shelton, and JTG doubted the sincerity of Hogan's apology due to Hogan warning wrestlers to be, quote, mindful about being recorded without their knowledge instead of really apologizing or addressing the comments. Just don't get caught, brother.
That's the lesson he learned. I mean, that's nice and honest. That's really what Hogan learned from this whole situation.
Mark Henry would say that, quote, he thinks it's going to go away, that it's not going to be that dark cloud over his career. I offered to say, hey, let's do a tour of the black colleges and law schools and explain what happened, but he didn't want to do that.
Shocking.
I mean, that's one of the more damning things of the whole story. And he's just like, yeah, I'm not doing any work.
Yeah, thank you. And I believe Mark Henry has changed his mind on that whole situation due to him turning that down. If you've ever seen his DJ set where he stops it just to say, fuck you, Hulk Hogan. So,
I mean, yeah, like famed publicity whore Hulk Hogan turned down a publicity tour to improve his name. So if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, like he's like, I'm fine with people thinking I'm racist. I refuse to publicly go out and apologize for it. Other than People magazine.
Do we know if his coming back, where in the time frame of Vince feeling open enough to say the N-word on live TV. And then he was like, well, I mean, I guess I said it, so I mean, we might as well bring Hogan back if that's the only reason we, got rid of him.
It was like
Vince
07,
Yeah.
08 when Vince
on
said that.
ECW. Yeah.
So Hogan, I've realized that Hogan and Donald Trump are the same person.
And
Orange-
Vince McMahon. They're all combined in some goo of one person.
Orange skin, terrible hair, and then just the endorsements and business ventures of Hogan. So he created and financed a restaurant called Pasta Mania, located, like Jason was talking about earlier, it was located in the Mall of America. It opened on Labor Day weekend of 95, heavily promoted on Nitro. It was in operation for less than a year. He also once claimed that on the Tonight Show and Conan O'Brien that he was originally supposed to get the George Foreman, what became the George Foreman grill, but he had failed to respond in time, so Foreman got it. That's never been backed up by any evidence whatsoever. And since he didn't get the grill, he instead endorsed a blender known as the Hulk Hogan Thunder Mixer. I remember that. I remember seeing that in stores and thinking, what the fuck is a Thunder Mixer? He also later would endorse his own grill known as the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Grill, but it was then recalled in 2008 due to being a fire hazard.
Nice.
It's like the cornballer in
Yes.
real life.
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development. It's like, oh, they're illegal. Oh, I got a Hogan grill. Oh, they're illegal in the United States. Like,
His name and likeness was also applied to a line of microwavable hamburgers, cheeseburgers, and chicken sandwiches sold at Walmart called Hulkster Burgers. Never had the pleasure of trying one of those.
first of all, I'm loving this segment of Hogan's failed businesses. Please continue.
On New Year's Eve 2012, he opened a beachfront restaurant called Hogan's Beach near Tampa, Florida. The restaurant would drop Hogan's name in October of 2015, and Hogan would later open Hogan's Hangout in Clearwater Beach.
Great. I'm glad you said that. This is a good time for that question. Has he ever thought more than 10 seconds for a name for a business?
No, it's the Trump. I mean, it's the Trump.
We're gonna sell pasta mania.
Well, you got his thought process.
What is this?
You got his thought process on this when he was talking to Nick in the prison. Like that's how they get their names.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I was thinking about. And then he's like, what's a Hogan Beach place? There's Hogan Beach. Like, and then like he's just like, yeah, whatever it is, like, or he's like Nick's Return or whatever it was. He's like, yeah, there we go, got it, done.
There was also, of course, the Hogan Knows Best reality show.
Yeah.
So now here's the one thing I will take Hogan's side on because of this Hogan's Beach near Tampa, Florida thing. So there's a picture that's circulated for years, and it's supposedly the dress code for this beach. Do you guys, or this restaurant? Do you guys know anything about this?
No.
So let me pull up the dress code here. Hogan Beach dress code. So when this came out, tell me how many of these things would disqualify Hulk Hogan from being in his own restaurant. So it's Hogan Beach. It says dress code. Attention, all customers. Dress code will be strictly enforced. No exceptions. Shirts and shoes are required upon entering any indoor area of the restaurant or hotel. Please do not enter the dining room or hotel area without appropriate clothing and footwear, or you will be asked to leave the premises. The following dress code will be strictly enforced. No plain white t-shirts or otherwise oversized t-shirts extending past the mid-thigh. No attire containing profanity or otherwise deemed to be offensive by management. No sports or sleeveless jerseys. No
Hogan
excessively...
Hogan is God, Draven. He had a shirt that said that in NWO. So that's offensive.
No excessively baggy attire. So he couldn't wear his
Jenkos.
jeans.
His Jinkos,
Jinkos.
yeah.
No low-hanging pants or shorts. No hats, caps, or visors worn sideways or back-facing.
What about
Hats must be
do-rag?
worn. Hats must be worn fully forward-facing at all times. No do-rags, skull caps, or bandanas. No torn or soiled clothing.
He's definitely
That's
soiled
both.
some clothing.
Cool
No
blood.
work boots. You can't wear your work boots in there.
He had that black jean work boot phase too when it was New Blood Rising stuff.
No oversized or excessive jewelry.
Well, yeah, he's got those. Wore the chains when he's Hollywood
Andre
Hogan.
ripped
Right.
off the cross.
No workout. No workout clothing, including tracksuits, jumpsuits, sweatpants, basketball, gym, or mesh shorts.
I'm giving him 2 for that one.
No camouflage unless with military ID.
He did camouflage
And no high top sneakers.
13.
when he was Wolfpack. Yeah.
13 offenses.
I don't know if you guys could kind of tell by that list who was being targeted there,
Oh yeah.
but this is where I will defend Hogan on this one.
What?
At the very bottom of this, people have kind of ignored this part. It says this is a beach party and beach attire is required. So when I read that part, I was like, oh, so was this just an event? And allegedly, that's what this was. This was just a one-time event, and Hogan didn't really have anything to do with this restaurant. He had basically just sold his name to people to use it in the restaurant. So I don't think this was like an example of Hogan's racism showing. I think maybe the guys that owned it was like their racism was showing. And whether Hogan asked or the restaurant just decided, but they did drop the name in October 2015. They dropped Hogan's name from it. So, but that dress code is ridiculous.
Right.
Let me see. What's another? Oh, here's my favorite. It's not a lie, but it's my favorite Hulk Hogan lawsuit. This is from an article from May 28th, 2012 by Reuters. I think it's pronounced Reuters, something like that. And it's the headline is Hulk Hogan trying to body slam Hulk cereal ad. Hulk Hogan is suing over a commercial for Cocoa Pebbles cereal. The Hulkster says Post Foods stole his likeness to depict him suffering humiliating defeat to Bam Bam of Flintstones fame. Hulk filed a lawsuit in Tampa District Court alleging misappropriation of name and likeness and false endorsement. In the commercial, a character known as Hulk Boulder, which, okay, that's
All right,
that's a bit on the
One of those
nose,
trademarks.
with long blonde hair and a blonde Fu Manchu mustache, takes part in a Coco Smashdown against various Flintstones characters.
Hogan got a case.
Yeah, he does.
He defeats Fred and Barney in the ring, begins to reward himself with a bowl of cereal pulled from his championship belt. I want that title belt. A cereal belt? Hell yeah. But he's then ambushed by Bam Bam. According to the complaint, Hulk Boulder is shown humiliated and cracked into pieces with broken teeth, with the closing banner, "Little Pieces, Big Taste." In the lawsuit, Hogan points out that he wrestled in the late 1970s as Hulk Boulder, and it also lists tidbits about his career, such as the fact that he was the most requested celebrity of the 80s for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he had the biggest 900 phone number from 91 to 93. His attorney, Joseph Bain, who's clearly trying to show his client's celebrity endorsement, is worth something, although he left out the part where Hogan had told his Hulkamaniacs to eat their vitamins every day. So I went and found this commercial. It's pretty easy to find. Just type in Hulk Hogan Cocoa Pebbles commercial or Bam, like, it's not Hulk Hogan. Like, I mean, it's a blonde guy with muscles and a mustache.
But Hulk Boulder, come on.
Like, I can't remember. I'm sure they said Hulk Boulder, but it doesn't stand out. So go find the commercial if you guys want, and tell me that it's a parody.
As long as it's a parody, they can use use that, right?
To me, it's not close enough that it should be. But apparently, it was post settled out of court, so we don't know what happened. We don't know what the amount was or anything like that. Hogan would also sue Southland Imports and Suntrup Automotive Group of Florida, a car dealership that had reportedly been running a commercial that mimicked some of Hulk Hogan's catchphrases, inviting customers, quote, tired of wrestling for a good deal. The commercial mimics Hogan's voice, overuses the word brother, and shows someone pointing to his own muscles and referring to them as guns. And that was enough to get Hogan to sue this car dealership in Florida. Like, that just seems petty as shit to me.
Who won? I gotta know.
It's also settled out of court.
So Hogan.
So we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hogan won, brother.
Well, you know, he was famous for saying his 24-inch guns, right? Like, that's not even his fucking...
If Hogan could have sued somebody for doing the guns thing, Tim would be owing Hogan a lot of money.
I'd be so broke. I'd be Hogan's slave. He likes slaves.
October 2007, he transferred all trademarks referring to himself to his liability company named Hogan Holdings Limited. Those trademarks included Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Hulkster, Hogan Knows Grillin', Hulkamania.com, and Hulkapedia.com.
I don't know which is worse, Hulkapedia or Hulka Grillin'.
In April of 2008, Hogan would announce that he licensed his name to Gameloft to create a Hulkamania wrestling video game for mobile phones. He stated in a press release that the game would be true to his experiences in wrestling, and it would use his classic wrestling moves like a double hand choke lift and strong clothesline.
So it's a game where you politic in the back to make sure you keep your spot. That's his experience.
Yes.
I'm interested.
On October 15th, 2010, and Endemol Games UK announced a partnership with Bischoff Hervey Entertainment to produce Hulk Hogan's Hulkamania, an online gambling game featuring video footage of Hogan.
It's a Hogan slot machine online. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Then he co-founded Real American Freestyle in April 2025 with Bischoff, and we don't know where that's going to go. We've talked about it. It could either be where Bischoff, it gives him a good reason to say, well, we're not going to do it now because it would, but we all know that's because they are not selling any tickets.
Right.
Or if he makes it all about a Hulk Hogan tribute, they're going to have at least one good drawing show, I think. And then we'll see.
But will they, though?
Hogan also endorsed Donald Trump for president.
Who's going to go to an amateur wrestling show to celebrate Hogan? Even as a tribute, I don't think it'll do well.
Yeah, professional show, sure, but like...
I say, it's the closest thing I can think that might draw them one good gate. Like...
Maybe.
I don't know if it will, but...
I mean, they could maybe get a couple thousand, but it's not going to be any kind of big event.
No. He endorsed Trump at the 2024 Republican National Convention, notably speaking about, and then notably spoke at the 2024 Trump rally at Madison Square Garden. And then July 24th, 2025, Hogan would pass away from cardiac arrest. And we are now getting the, whatever you want to call it, the
weird details.
Trying to brainwash us all into thinking that he wasn't that bad.
Whitewash history, yeah.
Well, in his case, adding on an extra layer of white, like a few extra layers. So yeah,
we missed it. His final appearance with WWE was the night of he was booed out of the building at the Netflix Raw Netflix debut, and it was clearly evident that the people were done with him, at least the people of LA.
So in his life, I mean, even right after the thing happened, I think some people kind of let it go, but I think it had been such a thing that it picked up steam again. because he wasn't getting booed by WWE crowds here even a few years ago.
I think it's
so. I think maybe.
I think it's a little bit of revisionist history, though. Like the racism stuff did kind of clear up. I think the booing was about he's in L.A. in California right after he came out and endorsed Trump. I think that had more to do with him getting booed out of the building than the racism.
I think so too.
But Undertaker has a pretty good point, and being in LA definitely does lend some. I do, yeah, that's definitely going to get you some boos. But Taker does have a pretty good remark about this, where he says that he's also a Republican and supports Trump, and he doesn't get booed like that.
I have a counter argument for that.
Okay,
it's because when you think of the Undertaker, what do you think of? The Undertaker. When you think of Hogan now, what do you think of?
Well, I also
the Trump stuff, the racist stuff, the Trump stuff.
When was the last time Undertaker showed up at a Trump rally and ripped his shirt off and started hooting and hollering behind a microphone?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, true. I'd agree with that. I mean, I am blown away by how many people. I mean, they like the character, so everything he did is fine. Like,
here's my big question. I think everyone will have to kind of answer themselves: is what is more important to you? Someone helping pretend fighting as our hobby that we like to watch, that we enjoy, right? That's really what it is. Or is it the content of who a person is and how they feel about other people? And pretend fighting being awesome, and I've based most of my life on pretend fighting. It's really super fun to watch and hang out. It does not, and being good at it and making it on TV more doesn't mean anything in the real world.
Well, like, you know who else I don't fucking like? I don't like Ric Flair because he's a fucking alleged sex pest. I don't fucking like Steve Austin because he fucking beat his wife. Yes. There are many, many famous pro wrestlers and very popular pro wrestlers that I do not fucking like because of who they are as people. Like, somebody made the point of, I forget who it was like a right-wing guy, but like, if a movie actor does something terrible in a movie, you don't hate him because of that.
Yes, I do.
No, he's saying like
if he does it
in the movie, the character.
Yeah.
But that doesn't. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing at all.
Nobody scripted Hogan to say the racist things that he said. Nobody scripted Hogan to go out and support Trump the way he did.
I don't watch James Franco movies because he's a gross creep. Like, when I see him in something, I'm like, nah, no thank you. So, I mean...
One of my favorite movies is Baby Driver. And because Kevin Spacey's in it, like, fuck that. And, like, I loved Kevin Spacey's character in that movie, but fuck Kevin Spacey. And fuck that movie.
House of Cards. I used to recommend that show.
Love that show.
I love that show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, but I've never suggested it in a long time.
I mean, for me personally, if you take, like, let's pretend in a world where Hogan wasn't a racist and he didn't have all the backstage politicking that made me dislike him because of Bret Hart and all that stuff.
A lot of pretending.
Just the fact that he is a bootlicking piece of shit that ratted out Jesse Ventura for trying to start a union. Like, fuck him. Fuck him forever. If your boys ain't eating with you, don't fucking eat. Like,
I think people need to think about how much value they put on someone giving them entertainment.
Yeah.
like why is this so valuable to you that you enjoy watching something, and so you just have to side with this person when they do terrible things? That makes zero sense when you really break it down.
Agreed.
Yep.
I have been saying fuck Hulk Hogan for years before he died. I will continue to do that. All of these.
So let me be devil's advocate. I won't say that. And the reason why is because he has people who love him and he has children who love him. And I just would never just say that. I would say he's a bad person because that's a scientific fact, but I won't do the fuck Hulk Hogan. Like, I just feel like, and I get people who do. I completely understand that. It's just that I just feel bad that he has loved ones that still exist.
I think I'm somewhere.
Put in Nick Hogan's friend.
I
agree.
You guys on there,
and that's why I get it.
While he was alive, I'm with Cash. Fuck Hogan. fuck Hulk Hogan, fuck Hulk Hogan. But now that he's passed, like, okay, he's no longer here. All you're doing is bringing down his family and people that care about him and stuff. So while I'll still say that I think he's a bad person, I still think he's a bad person. I don't fuck with him. I don't fuck with any of the stuff he did because of that. It just kind of defeats the purpose to go around being like, fuck Hulk Hogan now, because you're just hurting the people that are left behind.
Yeah, I'm the same. That is my same take. That's the way I was when Hogan was alive. I would say fuck Hulk Hogan, a piece of shit. But now that he's dead, I'm like, why am I? It's over.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go up to like Brooke Hogan or Nick Hogan and say, "Fuck your dad, he's a piece of shit."
I know you pretty well. You might.
Maybe.
Maybe. If you've had a couple drinks, I see for sure.
Mean, okay, how about this? If they confronted me for saying it, I would not back down on it, and I would be like, "Yeah, I have said that. And I will continue to say it." And I'm not fucking Jesus. Just because you die, that doesn't mean shit to me. Like, I don't have to forgive your ass. So, you believe in the Lord, brother. You said your prayers. You ate your vitamins. Take it up with Jesus and God. See if they forgive you. I don't forgive you.
Don't think that's.
That's a beggar of a line.
Yeah, that's also there. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm not going out of my way. Like, I'm not commenting on people's posts that are praising Hogan. So I find it ridiculous when people come into other people's comments and attack them for not praising Hogan. Like, I'm not going to be the guy that goes into everybody's post and be like, "How I can't believe you support him still." Like, I don't give a shit if you support him. Me personally, though, fuck the guy forever. Like, I don't care that he's dead. Doesn't matter to me.
See, I'm with Draven. Like, now that he's dead, it's over for me. Like, if you asked me about how I felt about Hulk Hogan, fuck, that guy was awful. But now he's dead, I just don't feel like it's over.
Jason?
Not for me, brother. Still real to me, damn
it. Jason, you probably have the most important take here.
I have the most important take. So the question becomes separating the man from the character. So fuck Terry Bollea and who he was, but not knowing what we know now or even knew at that point, does that change if I was a huge Hogan fan and the memory of seeing him slam Andre? Knowing you're a racist piece of shit doesn't change that, in my opinion, because you had those memories before associating with who he is, the backstage politicking. So, like, we'll say the 97, 98 era on would be a whole different form of point of reference compared to who he was during the first run. And, of course, his amazing work with New Japan, apparently.
Jason, what you're saying is, like, how we deal with all other people in our lives. Like, everyone has a family member who's like, he's kind of a piece of shit, but he's my cousin. So, I'll kind of, I mean, basically.
I know people that are good at their jobs, but I don't want to hang out with them after work.
Right.
Like, those kind of things. Like, clearly, to hell with this guy for clearly being an open racist. Like, you're not closeted about it because we caught a conversation that, again, you didn't know that we were recording that was going to get released. That does make it worse.
100%.
Like, that just means that you're comfortable enough to say it. I say the same thing about Morgan Wallen. Like, yes, you got caught on video saying the N-word at your house to your buddies. And then everyone's like, well, I mean, but it's okay because he was on his own porch and he would, no.
It's funny. No. Every time someone mentions him, I add that comment in there. I say, has he used the N-word in his songs lately? Like, I just somehow work it in to be like, hey, I'm just reminding you guys, this happened.
Right. Now, does it mean that there are some songs that are catchy that I could listen to and sing along to? Sure. But I'm not going out of my way to go see you in concert. I'm not going out of my way to support you because we know who you really are. But it doesn't mean that the entertainment side, that's the business part isn't different. But yeah, with Hogan, clearly you're a racist, amongst any number of other things that you were. And then just throwing in the Trump support just makes it that much worse, and maybe even that much more clear of who you really are. Sorry to our fans that are Trump supporters that are listening. If you didn't catch who the four of us are, find a different podcast.
You've never met any of us.
Right.
Well, that's what. Well, my other podcast, I was uploading a video to YouTube today, and while I was on the YouTube studio thing, I noticed that there was an unread comment that I like. It was posted like last year sometime, I think, on one of the videos, and it's an older episode, but the comment was like, "I really enjoyed your guys' podcast until you said that you didn't want Trump supporters listening. You have no right to judge somebody by who they vote for. I won't be listening anymore." And I was like, man, I wish I hadn't missed that one at the time. Like,
So
We
yeah,
have
when I
said
say
clear-
I don't want Trump supporters listening to the podcast, I fucking mean it.
to
Like,
be
get
clear,
the fuck
he
out.
gave you what
Right.
you wanted,
I'm not
and
for
he
you.
thinks you should feel bad about it. Like that's what you wanted. You wanted him not to.
Right.
People are
Well,
fucking stupid.
Also,
You know-
like, he's a fan of the show. That's not the first or only episode where we made it very, very clear where we stood. Like, those early episodes, especially, I was very rant heavy about Trump. Like, it was during his first presidency.
Yeah, all of us were.
So,
So here's something weird. The guy who had the maybe kindest take of all of us is the guy who's actually dealt with racism.
yeah.
Like none of us ever have, but Jason
Jason's a
actually
good
has had
dude.
to, and he's still the nicest dude.
Yeah, right.
People may disagree with that, but I mean, I guess comparatively,
Yeah,
Compared to us, yeah.
compared to us, yeah.
yeah, no, I used to have to do orientation at work and bring people into the office where I have a picture of my family on the wall. And I would get to the point of, all right, we are a very open staff. We don't deal with bullshit. Like, if you don't agree with someone's religion, their whatever age they are, their experience, their whatever it is, race, color, creed, sexual orientation, now's the time for you to go ahead and leave. And then I literally would point at the picture of my family and say, if this bothers you, this isn't going to work out. Are we good? That's legit. That was part of my orientation to staff. So
I don't know.
that
For
doesn't
me,
change.
It's kind of crazy, but like the older I've gotten, the more I'm willing to hold grudges forever. Like, I used to be like, what's the point of holding a grudge, man? It's not that big of a, like, whatever. Now, if I have a grudge with you, that shit ain't going away. Like, and I know everybody says, like, you gotta let that stuff go because it'll eat away or you'll die early. Okay, that's fine. I'll fucking die early with a grudge.
Right.
I love it.
Oh, that's the way to end the podcast.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Josh will die with his grudge of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Yes, I will.
And Jason's like, I'm going to watch a marathon tonight. So there's that.
Well, my glass is now empty, so I got to refill it, if nothing else.
That's perfect.
My deathbed confession won't be like any, or my last words won't be like any remorse or sorrow. I'll just be like, everybody should watch all seasons of Justified over again. It's a great show.
You're like all the grudges. All the grudges I had, I mean them. I still have them. I'm taking them with me.
Right. Right. Still, fuck you still.
And
I deserve
bury with my stuff because you know it's mine.
I deserve the player hater award.
Mm.
All right.
So I
Well, this
believe
has
this
been a
was
trip
our-
down.
Yeah, I believe this was our longest episode of all time.
We should talk about racist piece of shit dead workers more often.
Ultimate Warrior. Let's talk about the Ultimate Warrior.
So I'm getting someone wanting to join here. It's Cody. He's saying he's already fixed racism, so we don't have to worry about it.
Oh, wow.
He is a hero in our household.
I would love to see Cody pull the Mac from It's Always Sunny, where he starts demanding that people applaud him for it's not racism.
I've been watching The Boys over again, and I really want Cody to go full Homelander, just so bad.
I think it's happening at SummerSlam.
That will be next
right
week's
after.
podcast.
Yeah, that'll be our next episode.
Yeah, we'll be reviewing SummerSlam. I think we're going to try to record right after each night. So we'll have, I don't know what the turnaround will be for Draven, but hopefully we'll have the reviews posted.
It'll be the Friday. It'll be the next Friday after SummerSlam.
Oh, okay. So we're going to
stay on that Friday morning, right?
Friday, 8 p.m. is when they drop.
Oh, it's Friday evening, I mean, yeah. 8.
For SummerSlam, is there any way we could get them out, like, immediately after?
We probably could.
Might be.
We'd have to do 3 that week.
We don't know. You guys check. You guys will know in the future. They might already happen.
In the year 2000.
Check out all the socials. Check out the YouTube page. You'll see when it's up. Just follow us.
YouTube, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Follow us. Like,
Blibber,
subscribe. Smash that like button. Smash the subscribe button.
I don't like
Smash
that.
the notification button. Smash all the buttons.
Smash them
He's
all.
just saying words. I was adding social medias.
This is a pro button smashing podcast.
Follow us on Smashy. It's also a thing.
All right. Well, this has been the Gang Breaks Kayfabe. I think we broke some kayfabe here today.
Just a little.
And until next time, don't let kayfabe stay unbroken.
Also, don't be racist.
Sure.
Don't be racist.
We'll work on that.
Let's
We'll
shop
call
it
it
around.
We'll call it the new Nick.
Yeah.